panel of discussion and a recording session, Matt and Greg and the fabulous Beach Boys talk.
Beach Boys, we're talking Beach Boys, Beach Boys, we're talking Beach Boys, Beach Boys, we're talking Beach Boys, Beach. Some of you love.
Hello.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Beach Boys Talk, a show dedicated to our favorite band, the Beach Boys. Right, Brother Matt?
Right. We don't claim to be musicologists or historians or experts, anything like that. Just two brothers who love the Beach Boys. And we like to do this thing mostly every Tuesday night. We stream live and we just talk about our favorite band. We talk about their albums. We have on really neat guests a lot, and we just like to have fun, keep it light. And tonight's going to be really fun. We're going to invite on, he's going to join us in about 15 minutes, Nolan Carr from the Nolan Carr at Night show. He's a friend of ours. We were on his show one time, but he's a big Beach Boys fan. So we thought it'd be fun to have him along as we review the Beach Boys 1980 album, Keepin' the Summer Alive.
That's right. He's one of the good ones, and he's a really sweet guy, really talented, and we're excited to have some time with him tonight and help us take this album down. But everyone, this is a live show, so it's happening live right now. So which is fun, which means that right now, right over here, you can see we have the chat window, and that you can go ahead and on in there and type anything you want, anything that's not appropriate. But and you tell us all about yourself. We can talk about the albums, and so feel free to hop in the chat there. We got a lot of wonderful people. And speaking of all those wonderful people, I want to say hi to our folks in the chat. I see Capital Joe Winters is in the house. Capital Joe, good to see you, buddy. I see Kylie is up there. Hey, Kylie.
Hey.
See the Wave, as usual, is back up in the chat box. See the Wave, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Claire Bear's in the house. Claire, I hope you noticed that I went out of my way to put that timer up tonight just for you. So I hope you like that. Daddy Bog is in the house. Daddy Bog is a classic. If there's a classic car of Beach Boy fans, that's Daddy Bog. He's a great guy.
He was just on an episode of the Beach Boys Basement on YouTube, talking about his collection. So everybody should go check that out. Yep, it was pretty cool.
We are not affiliated.
Amazing collection.
Yeah, we're not affiliated with Steve or anything like that, but if you want to jump off our show right now and go down the YouTube rabbit hole, make sure you check out Steve Lewis and his show. It's really, really cool.
Yeah,
he's got a good stuff there. He's got a YouTube channel where he posts reviews of albums. But I want to say hi to Sean O'Grady. Hey, Sean, hope you're doing. Gail's in the house. Hey, Gail. Hey, Joyce. Joyce, hope you're doing well. I see Julie's in the house. Hey, Julie, hope you're doing well as well. Stacy, want to say hi to Stacy, our good friend Stacy. So we're so happy that you're all here. Make sure you say hello in the chat. We'd love to say hello to you. Greg, nice name, buddy. Greg, good to see Greg back in the chat. And Bobby, hey, Bobby, hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Rhonda, help me. Rhonda's in the house. Hey, Rhonda, thanks for joining us tonight. McCrinna's in the house.
Rhonda.
Of course, McCrinna. Can't do the show without McCrinna. That would be great. Scott, hey, Scott, hope you're doing well. Scott Kennedy's joining us tonight all the way from YouTube. Joining us on YouTube. So,
hey, I do have a question for the chat out there.
Hey, Mikey's Beach, how you doing? Go ahead, Matt. What's your question for the chat?
So when I pulled this record out today, I promise I didn't realize. Look what it says on the back here. It says,
no way.
It says for military.
Is that
military
from the
sale only? Yeah.
That makes sense because I couldn't find it. Keeping the Summer Alive. You must have taken that one. That one's amazing. It says for military sale only.
It says for military sale only, and
I didn't know they did that.
It's in like a gold stamp, so that's really cool. I didn't notice it till today.
That's
kind of cool.
Really
So,
cool.
if anybody has any ideas about what the heck that is, I would appreciate. I mean, I know what it means, but I just wonder how rare that is or whatever. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's pretty cool, man.
I'll bring it back to you. I thought you had one. Sorry.
No. Keep it for sure. That's pretty neat. So tonight, everybody, we're going to talk about the Keepin' the Summer Alive album. But as always, if you like the show, if you want to help support us, sharing the stream is always great. Getting it out there on Facebook, if you can share our stuff, comment our stuff is always helpful to get the Facebook folks looking our way. YouTube, anything you can share is always helpful. So we always appreciate all you that are so helpful in that in that effort. We really appreciate it. So we just love the Beach Boys, and we want to share that with as many people as possible. Matt, before we get started, you want to do a little tribute to the late, great Billy Hinchy?
That's right, Billy. Yep. Billy Hinchy played with the Beach Boys for a long time. Passed recently. We like to remember him every show if you're new to the show. So with a song that he wrote, that he performed on his show that he used to have on Saturday nights.
That's right. Yeah, we do this. We do this at the beginning of every show. If you haven't checked out Live from Billy's Place, check it out. It's really cool. But this is a little tribute to Billy. Sing along if you know it. Hey, Buzz. Buzz is in the house.
Hey, Buzz.
Hey, Sean. I think Sean has the answer to your question there.
Sweet.
Hello, my friends. It's good to see you again. Guess it's been a few years since I went away. Now I'm happy to say I'm doing okay myself. I can dig what's happening. And every day there is something new. And hey, good things are coming my way. Tell me how you've been. There's so much you gotta tell me. Let's talk about them good old days. We laugh and say, hey, hey, ain't life okay? Let's take it nice and easy now. It's a brand new year. And lots of things are happening. And hey, good things are coming my way. Yeah, good things are coming my way, my way, my way. You left me alone, nothing but a heartache, but a heartache. Don't leave me alone, living with a heartache. For Billy.
Rest in peace, Billy.
Rest in peace, Billy Hinchy. A great guy. Great stuff. All right, everybody. We're going to do our first segment of the show before we get our good buddy Nolan on here. And that is the Many Moods of Matt. Many Moods of Matt. Wow. Although tonight we're going to do things a little bit differently because it's going to be the Many Moods of me. Many Moods of Greg. Thank you.
My daughter said you should call it Giggles with Greg.
Giggles with Greg?
Yeah. She thought that was funny.
Who said that, Caroline or Mary?
Mary said Giggles with Greg.
I like Giggles with Greg, although Giggles with Greg kind of sounds like Giggins. It's a little bit too close. I feel like we're jumping on his brand there. I feel like we should do something else. But tell her to keep brainstorm going. Good. It's a good start, but I'd like to hear some more ideas
Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
By the end of the workday. Yeah. So I'm gonna do my many moods. Have I ever done a many moods before?
No.
Okay. This is my first ever many moods, and I am honored to take the position of my brother Matt. It's a position I do not take lightly. But in doing research for this album and this time period, I came across a really interesting quote from Carl Wilson from about this time. And the quote goes something like this. And if you're not on our Facebook page, make sure you check it out because we did post it and it's gotten a lot of attention. And it's not us, it's the quote. The quote is this. This is from Carl Wilson in 1981. I haven't quit the Beach Boys, but I do not plan on touring with them until they decide that 1981 means as much to them as 1961. I'll say that again for those of you that maybe, just because I maybe spoke weird, but make sure we got it. Carl Wilson quote from 1981. I haven't quit the Beach Boys, but I do not plan on touring with them until they decide that 1981 means as much to them as 1961. So I thought this was a really, really interesting quote because, number one, who it's coming from, right? It's coming from Carl, who over the entire history of the Beach Boys up until that point has been quiet, really, like a strong leader, but a quiet leader. I think relatively passive, maybe, and maybe that I don't know him super well, but from what I know of the Beach Boys, maybe a little passive, not super aggressive, just kind of a cool cucumber all the way through, right? You can always count on Carl to be cool. And then this jumped out at me when I read it because it's Carl saying something that's, whoa. You know, you don't expect to hear Carl say this. Because Carl's been the glue to the band up until this point, and now he's saying, hey, I'm not touring with the Beach Boys until 1981, until right now means as much as it did in 1961. So I want to unpack this a little bit, and it's more, my many moods today is more about, do we like the stuff that was coming out around this time? Did you like the stuff that was coming around in this time? The live shows, did you really see a big dip in the shows, or maybe this was an excuse from Carl to get going with his solo stuff? Because after saying this, he then goes on to do his solo stuff. So it would makes more sense with that. But I would love to know everybody's thoughts on this quote, what Carl means. I take it as, and I think a lot of people maybe take it as this, as the Beach Boys were not really into making new music. They were into kind of riding the wave of their past success. And I think Carl, still being really young, really energetic, great musician, still has a lot in the tank, wanted to get out there and do some stuff. And the Beach Boys just were not that outlet for him at that time. But I could be wrong. We've heard some pretty amazing people online that have shared their thoughts, Matt, and I'd like to kind of bring those up a little bit, that gave their thoughts on what they thought it was. I want to give a shout out to Carly Munoz. We got to have him back on the show, Matt, because he's got a book coming out. I don't know if you knew that. I did not know that. But his answer, I asked, what does this mean? What does this quote from Carl mean? And by the way, doing the many moods of Matt is scary. I do not like this. I don't ever want to do it again. Carly Munoz, his answer to it was this: yes, and that's part of why I quit them after a full decade. In addition, or more importantly, I wanted to spend more time with my wife and children. So it's all in my book, A Fool's Journey to the Beach Boys and Beyond, to be released in September 19th. So we're really excited to hear more about that. But Carly Munoz says, yeah, and that's why I quit them. So Carly obviously saw it too, kind of the whatever it was that was going on. And then we get this from Bobby's wife, Joanne. If you don't know Joanne, she's awesome. She's on Facebook. She chimed into our Facebook post and said, it was about the live performances. The band was not showing up for sound checks or rehearsals, and it was really frustrating to Carl. So I think that's pretty interesting. I'd love to get your thoughts, Matt, on what you think this quote means. And then I'd love to go to the chat. What do you think, Matt? Also, how did I do?
Oh, you did well. I was waiting for the closing mini, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'll do my own.
You don't have it. You're fine.
Okay, I'm not gonna do it. Never mind.
Yeah, that's okay. First of all, good work. I've heard that quote before from Carl, and when I first heard it, it was surprising that it's Carl, because you're right. Carl was always kind of the quiet one, the even keel, the diplomat, the peacemaker.
Yes.
But we've had enough interviews on the show to know that Carl took the music and the performance very, very seriously, right? And expected everybody to be on their game, be at the top of their game, be able to play everything. And so I just kind of feel like after Keeping the Summer Alive, I think there was always, you can see in the late 70s concerts, Beach Boys are always playing some of their new tunes at the shows, but they leave very fast, right? Like, for instance, they played Going On for a while and it left fast. And so I kind of feel like Carl, like you said, he wanted to keep the musical integrity, wanted to play some of their newer songs live on stage, but I think he got outvoted and I think really after Keeping the Summer Alive is when the Beach Boys became more of a nostalgia band. A lot of people say it was after Endless Summer, but I don't think so. I think it was after this album, because it didn't do well. And then they didn't have another album for 5 years. So I think Carl didn't want to phone it in. I read another quote of his that he said he thinks that they were remembered for the wrong music. And he was talking about songs like Surfing USA and things like that, right? Yeah. I'll have to find it, but I read that today.
I'd love to hear
I have to find the whole quote today, but it was in the same vein. Like he didn't want to be like a has-been, didn't want to be a nostalgia act. And I think that's why he left. I think he just got too much resistance and it was easier to go do his own thing.
Well, hey, quick break in the action here
Hey,
because
hey,
we are
Nolan.
joined by the wonderful, great, awesome Nolan Carr. Nolan, how are you, buddy?
In the words of Dennis Wilson, he said at the Nebworth concert, "Thank you, thank you, thank you for inviting me on the show. I greatly appreciate it."
Glad to have you here, buddy.
Nolan, I'm so glad you brought up the Nebworth show because I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Nolan, are you kind of on board with what we're talking about?
Go for it. I don't care. It's your show. I'm
No,
just
no, no.
here
I'm
to-
I'm asking. Are you kind of familiar with? Or do you know what we're talking about right now, or do we need to?
yeah,
fill you
yeah.
in?
I was tuning in for a little bit.
Okay, perfect.
beforehand.
So, and we're gonna get your thoughts here in a second, Nolan. We're so happy you're here. Okay, guys, chat. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Carl is by far my favorite Beach Boy. He always been. I love Carl, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. You ready? Nebworth, like the Washington D.C. concert. I think the Beach Boys sound musically. I think they're great.
Yeah.
So, what am I missing? Is it possible that Carl was just using this as an excuse to kick off his solo tour because he was maybe the brothers always had this really cool bond.
Yeah.
And I think he was maybe afraid to, this is just me guessing, maybe afraid to break that up. And so he kind of used this as an excuse to go off and do his solo stuff. Because if you look at Nebworth, I don't see, where are they terrible there? I mean, it could,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's the same Beach Boys that, and don't get me wrong, I've never thought that the Beach Boys were musically the best live act. I mean, if you listen to some of their mid to late 60s concerts, they're they can be really
Yeah.
rough, but that's just kind of what I expected, so maybe I'm not. But Nolan, what do you think about this quote from Carl? What are your thoughts? What do you think he's talking about?
I agree in the sense that it definitely made him probably think of his solo career, but also you look at the aspect. And I was watching Going Platinum earlier today, which was sort of the Rolling Stones cover or documentary on this whole album, Keeping the Summer Alive.
Yeah.
And you have, and as you both will know, you have Dennis and Carl who are trying to stay creative in different types of music and go beyond the generic stuff that they're doing. But then you have Al and Mike on the other side wanting to stay sort of in that rut. I think in the 80s, as you both will know, that it was tough for both Brian and Dennis. Surely Brian wasn't super far in depth as he was a few years later.
No.
But Dennis was, they couldn't really trust him. And of course, Nebworth, he was excellent at there. So I think maybe on stage they were. And once Dennis became a little bit more unreliable in the late 70s, early 80s, Carl sort of maybe said, "Oh, I'm sort of by myself here and I want to do my own thing. So I'm going to, move my own way out."
Yeah, Nolan, that's a really good point because up until that point, he kind of had the support of his brothers, Dennis and Brian. I mean, Brian was kind of back a little bit, but yeah, I think that's a really, really good point. That's interesting. So, man, I'm so excited you're here. We're gonna have fun tonight. It's gonna be a good time, guys. Can we go to the chat?
Hey, Nolan.
Let's go to
Yeah,
the
real quick.
chat.
Sorry. Okay, we'll go to the chat. But Nolan, can you tell everybody where they can find your
Yeah.
awesome show while
Yeah.
you're here?
Well, I want to preface this. It's not as amazing as this one. I can guarantee you. Guarantee you that,
Dude,
Any-
you haven't
anyone-
watched as many shows as you should. Trust me.
anyone who can correspond with the Hall of Famer from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like Al Jardine, and get postcards from it, is certainly a very cool thing. Although I have my a few stories myself of my run-ins with some of the members of the organization.
That's cool.
But where you can find it, YouTube, of course, if you want to see this wonderful $1 Million smile. But also, if you just want to hear my voice, you can hear it on all the major audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And I tried to get it out every Thursday, but sometimes things get in the way, as I'm sure you both know, with trying to do your own show. And it gets pushed back a day, or you don't get it that week, so you got to do it again the following week.
Yeah.
So all those platforms as well.
Nolan, you've always been one of my favorites. Not just because it's great content and you have great guests on, and even some great guests outside of the Beach Boys world, right?
Yeah.
You kind of get into a lot. Even get to the sports world, and it's
Yeah.
super cool. I love what you're doing, but you're a great guy, man. You're just a
Thank
really
you.
really good hang. You're a good person, and I think we gotta promote that when we see it. So we want you to have as much success as possible.
Oh,
So
cool.
everybody, make sure you tune into
Likewise.
Nolan Carr at night. Make sure you check out his show.
And subscribe if you haven't
we'll
already,
post it
and
on
like
our-
and
on
all
our
that
pages
stuff.
as
Yeah, we
well.
will. We'll put it on.
Do
there.
it, or else I'll come to your house and we'll play Ding Dang on repeat at your house, or Shortenbread.
I would hate
Some-
that. That would be
Some
my
fans
nightmare.
might like that.
That would
Nolan,
be my
that's the problem.
Claire Bear would like that. All right, let's go to the chat. Chat, what do you think about this quote from Carl Wilson? And we're gonna give the quote one more time before we get into the Keepin' the Summer Alive album, which I'm really excited to chat through. So the quote again was, "I haven't quit the Beach Boys, but I do not plan on touring with them until they decide that 1981 means as much to them as 1961." Now, a lot of our chat out there, folks, they've been to those concerts. Like they were at those concerts at the time. So I'm really interested to see what the chat has to say. So let's go through this. Let's see. Teresa, hey, Teresa says, it meant it was like the 60s, the same music in 80s. I love the Beach Boys. My favorite song, God Only Knows, Love and Mercy. Going to have these songs played at my funeral. I love the Beach Boys. Me too, Teresa. We love them too. And I think God Only Knows is a great song. But let's Love and Mercy. That I don't know, Matt. God Only Knows, Love and Mercy at your funeral. Ready, go, Matt. Got to pick one. 10 seconds. 9.
Out of those
8,
two?
7, 6,
Oh,
5.
God only knows, probably.
Nolan, at your funeral.
God only knows.
Okay.
I mean,
All right. Okay. Yeah.
He said easy.
Yeah. That is an easy one. But good choices. Let's see.
Wow,
Okay.
Gail Keys. Oh, sorry, Greg, but she said their live shows were a mess at the time. I quit going to shows in 1978. Wow,
Really,
that's
Gail?
it's quite a statement.
That's
Yeah.
a huge statement, Gail. I'd love for you to elaborate on that if you can. Their
Yeah.
live shows were a mess at that time. Wow.
Well, that was when they had a lot of the, we talked when we did MIU, we talked about it when they had
but that was,
the tarmac
wasn't that a lot of Carl though too?
when they were getting in. Yeah, Carl. Yeah, it was.
I mean,
remember
wasn't
the
he kind
Australian?
of a little bit of the problem there?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, as a group, that's when they almost broke up.
Can't
so.
forget when Dennis was streaking on stage either.
Oh my gosh, what a mess! Mess is a good way to explain. Daddy Bog said Carl wanted to get out and do his own style. I think it's a lot of that too, for sure. Stephen Janis say Nebworth is my favorite video to watch. It's one of my favorite concerts for sure. Janice, love that. Michael says reminds me of Paul trying to get Let It Be made when every other Beatle was kind of tuned out. That's interesting. I don't know that history, Michael, but sounds like it might be the same. Sean O'Grady says the drugs were really taking their toll.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's so sad. That's really
It is.
sad. Yeah. But Corinna says Carl took the music and family really serious, but did not compromise his professional career. Yeah, you know what? He didn't. And I think that's a strong move, too. He kind of realized that I have a lot more to give, which I think is cool. Phyllis says, I like Heaven by Carl. Me too, Phyllis. I love that song. It's a really, really nice tune. And that was off of his first solo record. Is that right?
He had two. It's off of one of them. I don't know which one.
I think it's off of the first one, I believe. Greg Shady says, I've never seen a messy live show. Well, Greg, man, that's good.
Lucky
That's
duck.
good. Yeah, lucky duck for sure. Joe Winter says, I think Carl was sending an inspiring message to Brian and Dennis and Mike. Greg's point for solo career. Okay, yeah, so maybe Joe's with me on he maybe just wanted to really get into his solo stuff. Nowhere Man says, I agree with Matt that the Nostalgia Act really started after the Keepin' Summer Alive album. Oh, really? Yeah, I guess it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, they played Going On a little bit. They played Some of Your Love right when the album came out. You can hear some bootleg concerts, and then they stopped playing that stuff. And then 1985 comes along, and think about the era. Then they do Rock and Roll to the Rescue, but then they're on these TV shows. They're playing the hits. They're playing Live Aid in all these places, but they're playing Good Vibration, Surfing USA. I just think that's when they kind of, I don't know how it happened. I wasn't there, but as a collective, just to accept their identity as, we're the Beach Boys. We're never going to get rid of the golden era. You know what I mean? 63 to 66 is what people want to hear. And so if you just look at the progression in the 80s,
yeah,
even their 85 album, what did they play live? They probably played Get You Back. That's it,
Yeah.
So,
Carol Ruth Barnes says, I remember. Oh, no, I want to go up to Claire had a comment. Carl had gotten together with Gina at this time, so she said it was a new chapter of his life as well. So that's pretty interesting comment as well, Claire.
Mm-hmm.
Good call. And I didn't even think about his personal life. So, yeah, maybe he was kind of ready for a new start. And musically, he looked good, sounded great, too. Like I think he was ready for something for sure. And
I think he had cleaned up. I don't know the whole history of Carl, but he had some issues with drugs in the late 70s. And I think by 80, he was cleaned up. And that could have been part of it, too. Like you said, a whole new start, fresh everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about some of those Australian concerts from 1978 that we see where he's really out of it. And 2 years later, man, he's a different person. Pretty crazy. So Carol Ruth Barnes says, I remember the Queen Mary live TV special. Carl wasn't there. The show was a mess. Lots of technical problems. Wow.
That's the one, Greg, where I think I mentioned that in a comment today, but that's the one where they make Brian go out there and he's real big and he has to sing
Yeah.
"Don't Worry, Baby," remember? And he's like off key, kind of croaks it through it, and they make him sing "God Only Knows" and "Good Vibrations" because Carl wasn't there.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about? That
yeah,
concert?
yeah. And Joey brings up a good point. Joey says, well, Buzz says, don't forget Mike put out "Looking Back with Love," guys. An oldies LP. Maybe Carl felt that was Mike's aim, kind of to be more oldies centered. Yeah, and maybe it was. A good call, Buzz. See the Wave says, I enjoy Rock and Roll the Rescue. Me too. I like that song.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Joey Hooper says the Endless Summer compilation was both a blessing and a curse. So do you think
Yeah.
maybe what's happening now in the Beach Boys' career, 1980, 1981, was really born out of the Endless Summer stuff? It's just kind of this was kind of the volcano.
You go ahead, Nolan. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know if it'd be the Pompeii where everyone's trapped underneath all the magma, but it might be one of those scenarios where it's near the tail end. Because now I know you don't necessarily can think it's cheesy, but the '85 album I think has got some great tunes on it, and that's sort of a new creative aspect. But I think it's an element of they officially given up because that time, especially on the road and the Queen Mary tour, is a great one. You have Adrian Baker coming in, a new guy from his success, and then you have who was his name? I wrote it down somewhere. It
Wasn't Bobby at that show?
Bobby was at the show. He Sailor, I believe it what it was.
Yeah,
who
that's
was
right.
it? Oh, Ernie Knapp. And if you know your Beach Boys history, you know who Ernie Knapp is.
Oh boy,
that's a sketch. That's an interesting story in of itself. And
Nolan,
his connection.
trust me, we know everything about the Beach Boys, and I totally know who Ernie Knapp is. But just for those of people that may not know, because I definitely know. I don't want you to think I don't know, because I definitely know. Can you tell us who Ernie Knapp is?
Ernie
I know,
Knapp,
by the way. I totally know.
So in 1980, that's maybe one of Mike's first examples of hiring some guys once Carl left. Jeff Foskett comes in at some point later. I believe Ed Carter takes over for Carl's spot on stage, and then Ernie Knapp comes in, and in the early 60s, I believe at some point, he played with a guy who became friends with Dennis.
Really?
Called Charles Manson.
Oh, dang.
And he played in his early group before all the nutty stuff happened.
No way.
And then he came in and took Ed's spot for that year. And then Carl came back and sort of said bye, and then back to the rest of the other guys who were there.
I didn't know that. I was just kidding. I had no idea who Earl Knapp was. That's pretty cool. Yeah, cool. That's a neat story. Hey guys, can you guys do me a favor? On the count of 3, can we all say hi, Todd? Because Todd Peters just joined us. We want to say hi to Todd. Todd's a little late to the show. Todd, we want to say hi. Ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hi, Todd.
Hi, Todd.
Hey, Todd.
Okay, we're saying hi to Todd. Todd, welcome on, buddy. We're glad you're here. Well, it's a fun conversation because, like I said, I was so surprised when I read the quote. And I may have seen the quote here and there, but the context was perfect this time around because we're about to do the Keepin' the Summer Alive album, which I think was the album right before he kind of decided to do this. Is that right, guys? Chronologically?
It is right. And 1980, March of 1980. So yes, but I do believe Carl is really the standout on this album. Carl wanted to do new music. You can hear it you're right, Nolan. You can hear it on the 85 album too. We had Robert White Johnson on the show. He wrote a couple songs with him on the 85 album. So Carl was always looking to go forward, which is interesting. They always talk about Brian being the progressive one, but Carl wanted to do that as well. Yeah. And I think personally, he just got really dejected. I mean, this album came out in March of 1980, March 24th. It went to number 75 on, the Billboard 200. The Light album didn't do well. This one did better than the Light album, but not much better. And I don't know how it feels, but it's got to be dejected when you have MIU, the Light album, and Keepin' the Summer Alive, and all three of them nobody out there cares about, Yeah. So there's probably a lot of that going on.
You guys want to go ahead and get into it? What do you think? Is it time to walk through an album?
It's always time.
Let's do it. All right, everybody. We're going to talk through. We're going to start right now. Get your record players ready. Get your drinks ready. We're going to start talking through the Keepin' the Summer Alive album. Matt, could you please give us kind of an overview of this really interesting album while I cue up our first song?
Yeah. And Nolan, feel free to add or correct if I miss something. But the Light album was not successful in 1979. So CBS wanted them to do another album as soon as possible. So in July of 79, they convened at Western Studios, which I got to stand outside of. That was kind of cool. But they wanted to get Brian Wilson involved again, and wasn't that the MO the whole time since 15 Big Ones. Brian needs to be in charge, needs to be producer, you know. Carl said that Brian, this is a quote, Brian got hot for about 3 days in the studio. He was singing like a bird. All the protection he usually runs, just dropped. He came out of himself. He was right there in the room. But then they said after those 3 days, he kind of lost interest again. But that was at Western. Anyway, so they tried. They all got together. They recorded Al Jardine's studio as well in Big Sur, Daryl Dragons in San Fernando. And Dennis Wilson was not involved in the album. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I know early on it could have just been he was having personal issues or what. The only song that he is actually on the record is When Girls Get Together, and that's not even from that era.
That sucks.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, and so Carl wrote a couple songs with Randy Bachman from Bachman Turner Overdrive, and again, that's Carl wrote them with Jack Riley. He wrote them with Roy Johnson. That's a normal thing for him. And so they put it out. They had what ended up happening was Brian wrote about 5 or 6 of the songs, co-wrote them, but he didn't want to produce anymore. So Bruce Johnston produced it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it happens. One of the things I think was really cool about this album was on Keepin' the Summer Alive itself, the opening track, which we'll talk about. Ricky Fattar plays a drum. So I thought that was kind of cool. But
what? I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Yeah, he does.
Ricky's playing drums on this?
Yeah,
Ricky Fattar is awesome. He is one of my bucket list guys to get on the show.
Yeah.
I don't know that he'd ever come on, but wouldn't that be fun?
Yes, it would. And so anyway, what ended up happening was it came out, it went to 75. The first single off the album was Going On, which to me is a brilliant song. Didn't go anywhere. I think it went to number 80 something. All Music said Keepin' the Summer Alive was a low point in the band's discography. Quote, ripe with mindless throwaways and lifeless filler. The two exceptions to the rule reside in the title track and the closing Endless Harmony.
Man,
and in Rolling Stone Album Guide 2004, it says the album is cited as an abysmal entry in a string of inconsequential records that had not abated since 1978's MIU. And that's the popular belief is MIU, Light Album, and Keepin' the Summer Alive are just throwaway albums. But I see it differently myself. But anyway, that's a little history. I hope that helps.
Let's can we go around our little circle here? And what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to talk through the album. At the end of every song, we're going to ask you to give a rating of 1 to 10 on whether or not you like the song. But let's do a 1 to 10 right now, and you can use the decimal system if you need to, for sure. But let's go around the room and give your right now, before we talk through the album, where you put this album. And if Matt or Nolan, why don't you go ahead and start? Where do you rate this album 1 to 10, and why?
I get, because I was doing this the other day when you asked me, and again, thank you for that. And I endlessly had, no pun intended on Endless Summary, but listening to the album constantly throughout the last handful of days. And a prime example of another album where there's a lot of good stuff on there, but there's also a lot of not so good stuff. And it's one of those things where you're 1 step forward and 2 steps back, in my opinion. Nevertheless, doing the math, I gave it, I think it was a 7 or 7.1 out of 10. As I had mentioned, there's some good stuff on there, the title track and a few other songs, Carl's high point, vocally speaking, but then there's a lot of other songs on there that don't fit it. And I don't see how School Days fits, but I'll get to that momentarily. But I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I love that. Okay, can I go, Matt? Do you mind?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So I was talking to Matt earlier, and this was I had a high school crush, and this was my album. This was my high school crush album. I loved, I said that weird. I loved this album in high school.
Yeah.
I had no game in high school. There was no chance of me having a girlfriend in high school, but I loved this album in high school. I listened to it so much. I still love this album. It holds a special place for me. I think musically, I think energy-wise, I think it's the best album to come out since maybe Sunflower. I think it's fantastic. I love it. I think the songs are really good. I think Going On is the best song to come out since the Surf's Up Till I Die era. I think musically, lyrically, the way it's performed, production, it's fantastic. I love it. And so I think it's a really good. I love this album. I give this album, you guys ready for this? I give this album a 9 out of 10. And the only reason I do not give it a 10 out of 10 is because of one song. And it might be the worst Beach Boys song of all time, everybody. Hands down, the worst Beach Boys song. And I dare you to argue with me, When Girls Get Together, it's got to be the worst Beach Boys song recorded. That was like seriously done, right? Obviously, the joke
Sans
song.
Tomboy, maybe. But.
No, dude, this is worse than Hey Little Tomboy. I'm sorry, it is just way. It's worse. But I love this album. I give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's great. I love the energy. And how can you hate an album that starts off with Keeping the Summer Alive? Great Carl vocal. And maybe I love it especially because I mentioned too that Carl Wilson's my favorite Beach Boy. And this could be considered kind of a Carl Wilson solo album, right? Ish kind of thing. Yeah. So, Matt, I'm interested in your thoughts on it. Wait, what was that face? Oh, go ahead. Give me your thoughts.
Carl Wilson solo. I mean, you're right. Keeping the Summer Alive. Oh, darling, he comes in strong. Some of Your Love. The best part of the song is Carl. So
is when Carl
and then Live with a Heartache. So
thank you.
But the second half he doesn't sing as much. But I will say that Carl Wilson's the star of this album. I agree with that. But here's the way I look at it. Not everything has to be Pet Sounds, right? Not everything has to be California Girls.
Correct.
So the way I look at it is on the first side, there's 4 out of 5 songs that I think are very awesome, high quality. And on the second side, I think there's 4 out of 5 songs that are pretty decent. So I give it an 8. I figure do the math. There's only 10 songs. I think 8 out of 10 of them are good. Yeah. So I give it an 8. Yeah, the only one, the thing that I maybe we talk about this after, but the thing that I don't understand is Nolan, you already alluded to it. School Day. Brutal. And then
brutal.
There's like 5 or 6 songs that were not on the album that could have been, including Going to the Beach. I think that there was a couple songs they did for movies around that time that could have been on there. And then they put on the When Girls Get Together, 1969. They had 11 years to understand that song was awful and it never needed to be heard by anybody. And then all of a sudden, 11 years later, they're like, let's throw it on this record where it makes no sense. You know what I mean?
That's one of the best takes you've ever had. The Beach Boys had 11 years to decide that this was a good or bad song, and they still decided to put it on an album 10 years later. Like, no, this is gold. It needs to get on an album.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand it. But anyway, so yeah, Chasing the Sky, Gene, thank you. I think that's the one I was thinking of.
Chasing the Sky, good call,
and maybe
Gene.
even too, it's a Beautiful Day. I know that was 78, 79, wasn't it too? There was a couple of them. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But anyway,
okay.
I like this. I've always liked this album. Nobody had to convince me of this one.
Yeah.
This was one that I liked even before I got into the deep stuff. I just listened to it one day.
Me too, Matt.
And no one mentioned that video. No, what was that called? Going Platinum?
Going Platinum, which was like a series.
Yeah, I love that. I recommend everybody watch that. It's really cool. And it has some funny Brian Wilson interviews. That's the one where he goes, I like food. And Carl like dies laughing at him and stuff. It's really funny. It's awesome. It's good stuff. Yeah.
All right,
I think he also said in that interview right before he said that with the interviewer, he said that he was asked, what makes you laugh? And Brian said arguments, and not arguments between him and someone else, but arguments between 2 other people.
That's great.
Yeah. And the guy, the interviewer's laughing. I remember seeing that. Anyway, check that out if you can find that. It's great.
Okay. All right, let's go to the chat. Gene says, if you give Keeping the Summer Alive a 9 out of 10, what do you give All Summer Long? Ooh. You know, All Summer Long has never been one of my favorite albums, to be honest. I mean, it's got Hushabye and All Summer Long.
And I Get Around and Little Honda and Wendy.
Yeah. But
the Girls on the Beach.
Okay, no, hear me out, though. To me, Wendy, like, what's better? Living with a Heartache, or any of those songs? I'd take Living with a Heartache. I mean it.
Not me. This is like your MIU.
To answer your question, Gene, I'd give All Summer Long probably 8.5. But I think this album better.
I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to compare. That's why I said not everything has to be Pet Sounds. I don't think you can compare the 1964 Beach Boys at their peak with Brian Wilson, producing,
why not?
Mike Love and Brian writing everything to 1980s Beach Boys.
Why not?
Because it's almost a totally different band. They have multiple songwriters.
It's not.
Brian's not at the helm anymore. It's different. So I think you have to judge each one individually. That's why I give it an 8. I could give All Summer Long an 8 and this album an 8, but I think they're different eras of the band,
All right.
So that's how I justify. But anyway.
Well, you guys want to get into this bad boy?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it,
Track
fellas.
1,
okay.
Side 1.
We got some drums on this album. Let's do it.
Is Keeping the Summer Alive, written by Carl Wilson, Randy Bachman.
Yeah.
One of the best opening songs on any Beach Boy album, in my opinion.
Whoa. When it's ice cream weather, get the gang back together. Roll down your windows and drive. They'll be sipping in the sand dunes, dancing in the streets. They're just trying to keep the summer alive. They're just trying to keep the summer alive. Lay down in the sun, watch the clouds roll by. Be with the one you love in the summertime. Whoa, did summertime. Whoa, did. I know we'll keep the summer. Yeah, yeah. I know we'll keep the summer. Yeah, yeah. I know we'll keep the summer. Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
All right. Damn, I screwed up the bridge. In the sun.
Listen, I think the same thing we're going to do as we do with the whole album is we'll have the chat rate it 1 through 10, 10
Okay.
being the ultimate best. First of all, Greg, good job, brother. I just
Thank
want
you.
to say about the song, and then maybe Nolan, you can give your take. I think if I was lived at this time, I was actually born a year later, but and you're a big Beach Boys,
Whoa.
you're a big
Wow.
Beach Boys fan, and you're like, I can't wait for this new album to come out, and you get this with the, the cover's really cool in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're in the Arctic in like a snow globe,
Yeah, it's pretty
I would be,
It's pretty
and then
sick.
when you turn it on and you hear, what? I would have been so excited. Do you know what I mean? I think it is a really one of the good choices they did make in their career with some album openers, excuse me, and I think that's one of them. I just think it's a dynamite song. I think
Me
Carl
too. So fun.
kills on it, and I love it. I give that song probably for this album. I probably give this song a 9. It's real good. So, but and again, maybe some of you out there in the chat could tell us how you felt when that came out. But I would have been like, they have it together again. Ricky Fattar on the drums. By the way, the live version of that, there's a Nebworth one, and there's a couple others, and I'm pretty sure Bobby Figueroa was playing drums, and the live version's killed too on that song. So
Yeah.
What do you think,
Well,
Nolan?
I agree with you in the sense I wouldn't give it a 9, or I'd give it an 8 only because
What?
I
No,
think,
Nolan. Are you okay?
yeah, I'm fine. I'm cool.
Do you need to go listen to the song one more time?
No, I think what's great about this, and Matt, I agree with you in this aspect that they do a good job of album openers for the most part.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, not everything's gonna be perfect, but I think they do a great job with this song, a pure, true rock and roll intro into this album, as well as their own stuff. And I think in concert, granted, Brian definitely is going to play that in concert when he was playing Nowhere.
Yeah.
I think it is Mike's version of the current Beach Boys. But
Right.
I think Carl's voice on it, coupled with the doot-doos on the back,
Yeah.
is perfect. Again, this is, I think, his high point in terms of how he sounds as a singer. And I really like them. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing's ever perfect unless it's God only knows, I guess.
Listen, it's a Carl.
Or keeping the summer alive.
People always said Carl wanted to rock. Carl wanted to rock and roll, and this is Carl.
This song crushes.
It's exactly what he's doing. He's rocking and rolling. So
Well,
yeah.
okay, guys, let's go to the chat. See what we got. Claire gives it a 10. McCrenna gives it a 9.9. Come on, McCrenna gives it a 10. Daddy Bog, agree with Bobby, a week 7. Daddy Bog, what is
I don't think he's a
that?
big fan of this record. That's what I've been
Daddy,
seeing. I've
what?
been getting
How
that
can you-
vibe from
what?
Donnie.
Oh, I can't. Mikey's Beach says, great song, hurt by the production. Oh, I just don't agree. Joyce Garrison gives it a 10. Joyce is on team awesome. Phyllis, I think they did that song when I was at the concert that they arranged for this young lady to go, but I know they play, Randy and Carol were playing Keeping the Summer Alive because I have never heard it before then. That's awesome. I love that. Bruce says a 9 on this album opener. Bought this album for the cool cover. I would too. Pretty. Stephen Janis,
Yeah.
I'm with you. Monza Media. Oh, hey, Monza's in the house. Hey,
Hey,
Monza.
Monza.
Nowhere Man gives it an 8. Paul Brandel on Facebook gives it a 10. Michael asks, who plays the guitar solo on this? That's a really good question because
For the information I
Kinda
have,
sounds like Carl.
It's Carl, and Joe Walsh actually played some guitar on this track as well. But I believe it's Carl playing the solo. Yeah.
Tiago gives it a 9. Thanks, Tiago. Todd gives it a 10. Steve gives it a 10. Phyllis gives it a 9. Joe Winters, Capital Joe, gives it a 9. Wallene Watson gives it a 9. Very cool, guys. Yeah, let us know what you think about these tunes. But I love that song. I think what a great way to open up an album. And I think it's definitely in a running if we were to ever do, again, best album openers. I think that's a good one. So shall we move on to track number 2,
Let's move on.
gentlemen?
Track number 2, we got Again, I'm sitting here, I'm excited. I'm like, that rock. Now the next one, you look on it, the record, you're like, oh darling, it's Brian Wilson, Mike Love. So think about that, because the previous album, the Light album, there was only one song, well, two songs with Brian, Good Timing, which was old, and then Short and Bread. So already you're seeing this sung by Carl, really beautiful ballad. It's called Oh Darling.
Before we met, there must have been some others, like storybook and fairy tale lovers. But in my life, there's never been another so perfect lover. Oh, darling, now that I've found you, it's like a missing piece of puzzle has appeared. Now, my darling, my love surrounds you, and since you came into my life, my love, perfection's never ever been so near. To love and to be loved is so inspiring. Oh, that's why every lover's so desiring. That love that's seeking, never tiring, always inspiring. Moonlight, just like moonlight glowing, our love keeps going. Oh, darling, now that I've found you, it's like a missing piece of puzzle has appeared. Now, my darling, my love surrounds you, and since you came into my life, my love, perfection's never ever been so near. Oh, darling, my love, I found you. It's like a missing piece of puzzle has appeared. Now, my darling, my love surrounds you, and since you came into my life, my love, perfection's never ever been so near. Lying here with you in the night, underneath the heavenly sky. Baby, what a beautiful night. Our love keeps going, be tight. Oh, darling, now that I've found you, it's like a missing piece of puzzle has appeared. Now, my darling, that I found you, and since you came into my life, my love, perfection's never ever been so near.
Man, brother, that was awesome.
Oh, I screwed that one up, but I love this song.
And then you
Nolan,
got
what are your thoughts?
Bru-
Out of a
you
10,
got
what do you
Bruce
give it?
going. Oh, sorry. Bruce tries to steal the tag at the end like he used to. He goes, God only knows how I love. Yeah.
I know. Dang it. I forgot that part too. Okay. Nolan, out of a 10, what do you give this one?
Now, I like the song. It's the first 6 songs on this album I enjoy. But for me, it was a complete mood change from Keep the Summer Alive to Oh Darling. And when I first listened to it, it kind of threw me off to that extent, because Keep the Summer Alive rock and you can listen to pump yourself up. And then Oh Darling's more of a waltz type of a song to me. And I give it a high 7, low 8.
Oh, wow. Wait, really?
Yeah.
All right, man. Awesome.
He said, yeah.
I love this. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I like
Oh, no, yeah, it's a great song. It wasn't my favorite out of all the songs.
I was expecting you to rate it like a 4 or something, but then you
no.
came up with all right, awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, I dig it. Matt, what are your thoughts?
Look, here's the thing. You can, even in 1980, you want to talk about late 70s, mid 70s, Brian Wilson, when he writes a song that's a decent song, you can tell it's Brian Wilson. And this song right away, you could tell it's a Brian Wilson song. On 95% of their albums, 95% of their albums, the best song written on the album is by Brian Wilson. And that's true on this album. And I love it. I love Carl's vocal. I will tell you all, there is a recording out there of the demo of Brian singing the lead, and I love it. I love it.
Oh, can we put that up tonight? I don't know.
I'll see if I can find it. Yeah, I love it. But to me, Nolan, I get what you're saying, but this is why to me it's such a typical Beach Boys Brian Wilson album to have that rocker.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, Brian, what's your song? And it's totally different. Not rock at all, but that's what I come to expect. Sure. And to me, that song is just about, for the era, considering the history, Brian, and all that, it's almost perfect. I give it a 9. I got 2 9s so far. Keeping the Summer Alive and Oh Darling are 9s in my book.
Yeah, I give this song a 9.5, a 10. I think both of these songs are great. Boom, Keeping the Summer Alive. It's a very different type of song, different energy, but this song has that old school Beach Boys today, kind of like that Wilson love energy, and I love that. I think it's melodically it's beautiful, lyrically it's fantastic,
and you add into it, sorry Greg and you add into it though, Carl's on, his voice is so good on every song in this album,
Oh, by the way, on the count of 3, can we all welcome Marco to the chat? Ready? 1 2 3. Hey Marco.
Hi Marco.
Okay, Marco's here. Thanks. Oh, good, we can continue. I was worried. Marco, we missed you, buddy. Welcome. We're talking about keeping the summer alive, everybody. We're on track number 2, Oh Darling. Chat, what do you think? Out of a 10, what do you give this song? We'd love for you to know. Looks like
Ian
Joyce
Harris had an interesting one. It said hideous. He said hideous song, predictable composition.
What?
Just plods on, awful. 1 out of 10. There you go.
Ian,
Although he said your version made it sound good though, so that's fair enough.
Oh,
yikes! Wow.
Because it might not be the composition, it might be the way that's recorded or produced. Because I want to give Greg some credit there. When we go through these albums, it is neat to hear everything just stripped down with a piano and a voice.
Sure.
It does make you hear it a little bit differently sometimes. So.
I'm going to correct that. I think it would be cool if I could play everything properly and sound good, but I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, and thank you, Ian, for the kind words. I love this song. I think it's great. But and you know what? We all have different some people like chocolate ice cream, some people like vanilla, and I'll never understand people that like vanilla ice cream. Are you guys vanilla ice cream people?
All right, chocolate.
You know what? I'm vanilla all the way.
Are you serious?
I am. I don't like chocolate ice cream. Sorry. I like vanilla and strawberry and mint chocolate chips. So.
Strawberry?
Yeah, I love strawberry.
Matt, did I not know this about you?
I don't know. I don't eat a lot of ice cream, but when I do, that's what I get. Yeah.
Oh, well, this is a whole new thing now because I don't understand people that don't eat ice cream.
Yeah.
Well, Tiago put the link to the Brian singing Oh Darling
thanks,
in there.
Tiago.
Thank you, Tiago. And we'll put it in
Appreciate
there later too, but thank you for doing that if you want to check it out. Yep.
We'll have to do a poll at some point. What kind of ice cream's your favorite? Because I'd be interested. But yeah, okay. Awesome. Let's go to the chat. Teresa gives it a 10. Thanks, Teresa. Eddie gives it an 8.5. Let's see. One on the second. Daddy Boggs giving it a 1.
He does not like this record.
He really doesn't like this. Oh wait, no. Is that a 1 or a 7? Hold on. We've made this mistake before.
That's a 7. That's a 7.
I'm sorry, Daddy Bog. My bad. McKerna says cookies and cream, best of both worlds. You know? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I
can buy that.
Okay. I love that we can all meet in the middle on this. Nolan, cookies and cream, yeah.
I don't mind it. I like cookie dough more.
Hey, thank you, Jim Murphy. Jim Murphy in the house. Great author. He said, "Who doesn't love strawberry ice cream?" ? Thank you.
Oh, Jim, I'm so sorry, but
and Jim loves MIU too, so we're on the same.
I can't go with you on that. You know what, Matt? We should do a big Beach Boys group study. How many people that like MIU also happen to like strawberry ice cream?
It might be the way the brain is.
All
wired,
the weirdos,
right?
all the weirdos are in this one corner. No, I'm just
That's
kidding.
the last ice cream I have out of the Neapolitan bucket at my grandparents' house.
There you go.
That's got cobwebs on it when I'm scooping the other ice cream out.
I love that's the best kind of
Nolan, I love
vanilla
you
too
so
in the
much,
middle
man.
there. Yeah.
That's so cool. Oh, I love it. Gene says peach. What?
Oh, I can't get on board with that,
dude.
No.
Fruit and ice cream. I can't do it. I have to be like chocolate, caramel. It's got to be something like that, and no nuts. No nuts for sure.
Sean wrote 7 3/4 on the song.
7 3/4. Nice.
Yeah, people are actually grading that pretty more highly than I expected so far. These first 2 songs.
I'm pleasantly happy with our group because I was worried after all the Facebook stuff. A lot of people did not like this album, and I'm like, how do you not like this album? And so far so good, right?
Yeah.
So far things are good. I'm waiting. but I have a feeling I know when it's going to kind of fall apart here, and we'll see. But and
All right,
it
well,
might be
on
this
that-
next song. So yeah, go ahead, Matt.
On that note, let's go to the third track. The third track on the album we are covering today is Keeping the Summer Alive. Is called Some of Your Love. It's written by Brian Wilson and Mike Love. And of course, Mike go back to LA, the MIU. Won't you come out tonight from MIU? It's the same kind of bass line. It's kind of like a short and bread kind of thing where Brian had that feel in his mind, you know. So anyway, they put it out as a song called Some of Your Love. Great sax intro, in my opinion. But all right, let's hear it.
Fantastic. Let's do it. You guys ready?
We're ready.
Some of your love. Won't you give me some of your love? Some of your love. Ooh, you gotta see my favorite little acrobat. With a gun and every little move down pat. She got my vote for #1 in the class. I couldn't help but try to make her forward pass. Some of your love. Won't you give me some of your love? Some of your love. There's nothing looking better in the stands, walking down the hallways, holding hand, punching up a jukebox, a favorite band, cutting up the summer moonlight in the sand. Kiss me, baby, hold me tight tonight. Some of your love. Some of your love. Won't you give me some of your love? Some of your love.
Okay, can we copy and paste that for the
And
next?
then it goes on for
the
like
next
3
5
minutes.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'll get my thoughts on this one. I like it. I think it's innocent. It's fun. It reminds me of old school Beach Boys, especially this part, which I totally screwed up. You know, that sounds like
I got a Letterman
be
sweater with
true
a
to your
letter.
school,
Yeah.
son. I got
Yeah.
for football and track.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm proud to wear it now. Dude, what a great song. Dang it. Be True to Your School is good. Okay, but yeah, it's got that old school Beach Boys feel. Now, Matt, can you remind us again who wrote this lyrics in
Brian wrote the music, Mike wrote the lyrics.
classic? I mean, this is
And again, it's one of those Brian Wilson feels, you know, where you can tell it's a Brian Wilson song. It's almost like got a Love You vibe, like the bum bum. Couldn't you hear a heavy synth there instead of the saxophone?
guys,
You know what I mean?
Isn't it funny how you can tell? Not only can you tell who wrote the lyrics and who did the music, but you can tell who was more of an influence on the tune. And this is perfect. Oh, darling, take Oh, darling, and take Some of Your Love, right?
Yeah.
Oh, darling is clearly more of a Brian Wilson Till I Die type thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas Some of Your Love is more of a I Get Around type of thing. You know what I mean? They had such a cool thing going, man. Really did.
Here's the thing. I'm throwing this one a 7, and I'm going to tell you why. Because first of all, I think it goes on too long. I think Bruce produced it, and I think the some of your love for like an hour after is too much. But
another Here Comes the Night type situation.
Yeah, I will say though, I think the harmonies are tight. I love that 80s Beach Boy harmony sound like that. It reminds me of Going On. It's that same sound.
Yeah.
But here's the problem I have with it. You start with the Love You album, and you have Roller Skating Child, I Want to Pick You Up. Then you have Hey Little Tomboy. And I put this song in that same category. They're just kind of like creepy. Like the Beach Boys aren't even 20 anymore. You know, they're like in their mid 30s talking about high school and holding hands.
Wait. How can you say that? Your favorite album is MIU and it has Hey Little Tomboy, dude.
I don't like that song, but here's the thing. I like the music. I'm not a big fan of the lyrics. That's what I'm saying. But the one thing that I would play over and over again in that song, which is so cool, is Carl's part. Kiss me, baby. That part is so awesome. Yeah.
Baby. And then hold
me tight to. Yeah.
Oh, Carl saves that song. 100%.
Yeah, he does. And again, that's a really typical Brian Wilson kind of let's change it up a little bit in the middle. You know, nobody else could write that except for him. So I do like the song. I'm just not a big fan of the lyrics. I think they're kind of dumb. But
Nolan, go ahead. What do you think, buddy?
Similar to Matt, I give it a 7.5, a little higher than Oh Darling in my opinion. Similar to what also Matt said, it's got a killer sax intro. I like the sax intro, and my guilty pleasure song is Short Breath, so it reminds me a little bit of that song.
Yeah, it got similar.
Yeah, it's another example of it keeps you grooving the whole time, and I like it. Not the greatest song, but I like it.
Okay, hey, you know what? That's cool. I dig it.
Bobby said, Greg, you can't say you don't like MIU and have this album at a 9. That's funny. And Marco wrote,
yes, I can. Go. No, stop.
All right, real quick.
No. Show me.
Wait.
Okay, all right.
Real quick, and then you could say, no, say it. Before this goes away, no, I want to read it before it goes away.
Go.
Marco said, some of your love rocks. The bridge makes the whole tune. It is a Scotch pervy. That's what he wrote. But anyway, go back to the comment before that. Yeah,
I think it's Skosh, isn't it? A Skosh.
Not liking MIU versus this album.
Okay, all you MIU people out there, go ahead and show me a going on MIU, and then tell me that MIU is anywhere close to this album. Thank you. Who said that, by the way? Was it Bobby? Bobby, go ahead. Show me where the going on is on or the Keeping the Summer Alive or the Oh Darling. Even
Dude,
Endless Harmony.
You have She's Got Rhythm. What are you talking about?
Bells of Paris?
Bells of Paris.
How do I get you? How do I get you guys off this chat?
Coast.
How do I delete you guys?
Patter,
Hold on.
Sweet Sunday.
No, I'm sorry. You guys are going into timeout. Hold on. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video. How do I? You know what? I shouldn't have done that. How do I don't know how to get your video back. Dang it. I'm sorry, everybody. That was a mistake. That was done out of anger. And I apologize, Matt. I'm gonna get you back. Hold on. Give me a second. Oh, there we go. Okay, Matt, I'm getting you back here. I'm sorry, that was a mistake. I'm going to start video. Just go ahead and approve that. I'm sorry, that was bad. Oh, hey, you guys switched spots. Okay. Yeah, no, you both are crazy. There's nothing on MIU that comes close to this album.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Ooh, Bobby Jewell said Sweet Sunday Kind of Love is better than Going On. Oh. Interesting. Gene said,
"Dude,
this is way better."
I'm done with this. I'm done tonight. I can't do it.
Gene said, this is way. Hold on. Gene said this is way better than MIU. So there you go. You got friends.
Yeah, but didn't didn't you give Oh Darling like a 2 or something? All right. Okay. All right. Let's go to the chat. Chat. I'm so sorry for derailing. What do y'all think of Some of Your Love? What are our thoughts on this? On this tune, I'd love to go back to the chat. Sorry for derailing that conversation.
While we're waiting for some answers, I love what they're trying to do with that song. Don't get me wrong. I just, anyway, this album blows MIU out of the water. That's what Michael said. Fair enough. Oh, Jeff McAvoy's with us.
Totally, Michael. Hey, Jeff.
He wrote Winds of Change. Definitely better than When Girls Get Together. Well, yeah, that's true for sure. Okay.
Wait, what did Jeff say?
He said Winds of Change is way better than When Girls Get Together. That's true. So
I still didn't hear that. I'm so sorry. One more time.
He said Winds of Change is way better than When Girls Get Together.
Oh. Yeah, Jeff. Every song in the Beach Boys catalog is better than. I would rather listen to in the back of my mind is another one. But.
Ian said, "Wow, I'm hearing that some fans like MIU. Incredible." Ian, we did a whole show on it. You got to I'm not trying to toot our own horn, but we did similar to what we're doing now. We did that with MIU, and Gary Griffin
joined us.
Came on, who played on the album and joined us. So check that one out. It's on YouTube because I love MIU. In fact, I even have a shirt that says MIU fan. But yeah.
Yeah, Matt says, love the sax intro, love the song, but I do picture 1980 Mike Love harassing the Beach Boys cheerleaders in the hallways of the local high schools.
Exactly. Thank you. I couldn't have put it better.
Oh, no.
But you'll address me as Dr. Love.
Dr. Love, that's right.
We know it's kind of like Get You Back has some really kind of who said Skosh? A Skosh pervy?
Marco did.
Said that, yeah.
He said it was a Skosh pervy.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. Let's move on.
All right. We got to get off this song.
I think Greg's going to be happy for this one. And I like the song a lot. I do want to point out, though, that out of a 32-minute album, 33 minutes and 10 seconds, This song is over 4 minutes long, so it takes up a lot of the album. But it's called "Living with a Heartache," written by Carl Wilson and Randy Bachman again.
Just on that note, Matt, before we play
Yeah.
this song, I do want to say that this song gets a 9.9999999, and that little whatever it is, thousandth of a point, is because it is way too long.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that.
Let's do
it.
You let me alone, nothing but a heartache. Don't leave me alone, living with a heartache. After all this time, I still wish you were mine. I miss you every day. Come back to me and stay. Ooh, living with a heartache. Living with a heartache. I loved you for so long. Hard to believe that you're really gone. I tried to change to what I should be. I'm no good alone. You know everyone sees that you left me alone. Nothing but a heartache. Don't leave me alone, living with a heartache. After all this time, it's wish you were mine. I miss you every day. Come back to me and stay. Living with a heartache. Living with a heartache. Please come back and stay with me. Give our love a chance and maybe you will see. My love is true like a heart of gold. I promise you a love you can hold. So you left me alone, nothing but a heartache. Don't leave me alone, living with a heartache. After all this time, I still wish you were mine. I miss you every day. Come back to me and stay. Living with a heartache. Living with a heartache. Don't leave me living with a heartache.
Very nice, brother.
Yeah. Nolan, what you got on this song, buddy?
Unfortunately, I don't enjoy it as much as the previous song,
Okay.
but it's still a good
I'm
song.
out of here. Just kidding.
What I will say is that, and this goes for the whole album. I don't hate the songs, which I'll repeat endlessly. It's just I think it's not my cup of tea, but Carl saves it. His vocals save it,
Yeah.
and this song, I like the beat to it. It now is leveled out after "Oh Darlin'," but
Yeah.
I think it's a environment where it's still a nice song, and it definitely shows Carl's ability as a musician at that point.
Nolan, I want to give you some credit because I think it's interesting the way you are thinking of it, because we all think
Yeah.
about things differently, and I think that's such
Yeah.
a cool deal. I love that you're thinking about it as an album, like a complete thought. Because Matt, I don't know if you've noticed it, but every time Nolan has made a comment, he's also bringing in the fact of how it's moving in and out of a sequence,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Which
yeah.
I think is super cool. No, and I don't think about that when I listen to albums, but I love that you do. I think that's really cool. Have you always kind of had that when you listen
Well, I mean,
to albums?
I don't have any musical ability. I'm like, I'm nowhere close to any of you, both of you. But I for all about 5 seconds in middle school, I played keyboard in one class, and
All right.
like was Mike Love for about 5 seconds playing saxophone. But was only Who Let the Dogs Out. That was the only aspect. Never practiced.
Right. Cool.
My parents probably regret to this day wasting all that money on a saxophone. Nevertheless, so I can't listen. I can't be like yourselves or anyone else who plays music who can really go deep into their viewpoint on the song. So if I like it, I like it. And some songs I don't enjoy, but this song was okay. But Carl's voice is the saving grace for me for the song.
Totally agree. Matt?
I think this song for 1980. Now we could go through a list of songs that came out in 1980, but I think this song sounds really contemporary. Like it sounds like a song that would come out at that time period. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't sound nostalgic. Doesn't sound like the Beach Boys trying to sound like the Beach Boys. It sounds like a contemporary song for the time.
Sure.
I think Carl's voice is a 10. There's no doubt. It's one of the greatest vocals he's ever put on a record. And I mean that. The only issue I have with the song is I think it runs a little bit too long. It kind of meanders. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It could be 3 minutes long, but I give it an 8.5, 9. It's a strong song. Yeah, for sure.
I was obsessed with this song in high school. Carl's vocal, there's something about it. It's mesmerizing. The melody lines are pretty, lyrics are nice, straightforward. But it's nice, it's not a beach. It's not like I don't know. Sometimes it's nice to have a little break from the Beach Boy thing on a Beach Boy album, It's one reason why, what kind of reminds me of in a similar vein. Now, I don't know if I'm explaining this properly. Girl, Don't Tell Me. It's kind of got like a, hey, all of a sudden we're taking out the lush production. We're just going to let somebody sing a song here. And it's executed so well that it sticks out in a really good way. And the Beach Boys don't do that a lot, right? A lot of their best tunes are lush production, great driving, driving beats and that kind of thing. And every once in a while, you'll get this kind of singer-songwriter type deal. And when Carl does it, it's fantastic. It's really, really cool stuff. So, chat, what do you think about Living with a Heartache? I'd love to get your thoughts on it. Let us know what you think. Why we hard time hearing Greg. Oh, do I need to turn up my mic a little bit? Man, no one's ever said that before.
Macrina said take 30 seconds off, and it's an 8.5 because of the Carl credits and voice. Let's see.
Marco
Patricia said 10. Go ahead. Sorry.
Marco says Carl and Bruce shine on Living with a Heartache. It fits right in with the urban cowboy movie soundtrack Bandwagon. Oh, dang it. I missed that. Do you know, guys? Matt, do you know what movie that is?
I didn't catch it.
Okay. Oh, shoot. The chat's moving fast now. Buzz gives it a 7.75 only because it's too long. Yeah, okay.
Matt said if this song was written for the country band Alabama at this time, it would have gone to number 1. It is a bit long. Kind of thought the breakdown before the last verse should have been the outro. Yep.
I love that comment. Yeah. Ed says
Bennett
Living with a Heartache was a single. Matt, did this chart at all?
Let me look.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I'll keep reading if you could check. Nowhere Man 7. I really like this song, but don't really dig Bruce's With a Heartache response. Yeah.
Living with a Heartache.
With a Heartache. Yeah, come on, Bruce. Don't ruin this. Carol Ruth Barnes 8. Nice. Good. Great. Greg Shady. The song would have charted in the country music charts. Oh, totally agree. And at that time, you had the Eagles. You had a lot of kind of crossover type stuff going on.
So interesting here, Greg. The single actually was only 3 minutes and 5 seconds. The album version is 4 minutes. So I've never heard the single version. That's interesting. It did not chart. Santa Ana Winds was the B-side of it. But that's interesting that the single was 3 minutes. So even they knew it was a little long. That's interesting.
Yeah. And how come?
Glad I looked that up. Yeah.
How come the Beach Boys haven't put that on any sort of release? I mean, to me, okay. I'm going to say something here, guys. I don't want you to freak out. This is the best song on the album. Is it the best? Is it the best Beach Boys song overall? Probably not. But is it the best song on the album? I think Going On is clearly the best. But to me, Living with a Heartache might be my favorite. I guess I should say. I just love this song.
It's great. I like it. I don't have any problems with it. But I want to hear the 3 minute version though. That's
Joyce gives it a 7. Joe gives it a 7.5. Carl's vocal is great. Love it.
Jim
Claire
Murphy
gives it all the 10s. Claire's with me. I love anything Carl sings.
Yeah, Jim Murphy said it's a Carl Wilson vocal. Not enough said. So yeah, it's true.
That's a great comment. I love that. Patricia says I agree, Greg. Ed says thanks, Ed, for joining in on Facebook. Single is Caribou.
Yeah.
What is it?
Caribou, and then it was 3:05, 3 minutes 5 seconds.
Oh, thank you, Ed. Greg says best on the album. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one, Greg. I love it. Okay. Daddy Bog really does not like this record.
He said yawn.
I don't understand, Daddy. I don't know. Bog, what's going on, man? I don't get it. But we move on, unfortunately.
All right. Now, so.
Can we not move on? Because
if you're a listener, you got the first 4 songs. You got Keepin' the Summer Alive.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, Darling. Some of Your Love, Living with a Heartache. All original songs, all pretty solid. And then Beach Boys do put a lot of covers on records. Let's be honest. They do. But the next one they do is a Chuck Berry of a 1957 song called School Day, Ring Ring Goes the Bell. and Al sings it. Now, here's a little story about it. My understanding was that Brian, once he got in the studio after he was on fire, then he just wanted to redo oldies again, like he did on 15 Big Ones. And this was one of them that they did. And then I think that got abandoned quick. But so the next one is School Day. Ring, ring goes the bell. Go ahead, Greg. Have fun with this one. School Day. You got to do the beginning.
Are you guys ready?
Oh, I'm ready for this.
I really don't want to do this song. I can't tell you how badly I don't want to do this. Okay.
Well, Chuck, I mean, respect Chuck Berry at least, you know.
I
It's all
guess,
right.
but I'm having this problem where these ads keep popping up on my lyrics, and okay. Let's try it. Okay, I'm ready. Sorry, here we go. Yeah, let's go. Up in the morning after school, the teacher is teaching the golden rule. American history and practical math. You're studying hard to hope to pass. You're working your fingers right down to the bone. The guy behind you won't leave you alone. A ring, ring goes the bell. The cook and lunch are ready to sell. You're lucky if you can find a seat. You're fortunate if you have time to eat. Back in the class, you open the books, but the teacher doesn't know how mean she looks. Woo! I'm not doing this song anymore. Okay, guys, thoughts on this? Listen, obviously it's an oldie. It's a cover.
Beach Boys have a way of making a song their own. So I do want to say one of the things I do like.
I did not think that's what you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say Beach Boys have a way of completely ruining a cover song.
No, I think it's at a place on the album, but I do think the whoa whoa and then the do do do. I think the harmony is pretty solid in the song. Now,
yeah.
Here's an interesting thing. I don't know if you knew this or not. You probably did, but
okay.
Hal Blaine plays drums on the song.
I did not know that.
Don Randy plays keyboards. Mike Maros, Carly Munoz plays organ. So you have all the big hitters playing on this song. Wow. Yeah, you have a lot of the Wrecking Crew on here. You know what I mean? So I think when I was doing some research for this, I thought that was really cool. I was like, no way. So I don't know how that all came to be, but Ray Pullman played bass on it. Again, he's one of the classic guys. So I thought that was interesting. Al has a nice voice, good harmony, but with other songs in the vault, especially a song called Going to the Beach, which came out on a compilation later, that was an original song that was already recorded, everything. A Brian song, didn't make it. Going to the beach with my babe. It's not great, but it's not a cover, Yeah. So I give this one a 7. It offends me. I'm not gonna lie, it offends me a little bit.
It offends you, and you still give it a 7?
Yeah, I like the way they sound on it. I just don't like that they did it. If that makes sense.
All right, Nolan, what do you think, buddy?
Well, I'm gonna get castrated by this, I'm sure, in the chat, but I enjoy the song.
Wow.
I like Al's voice on it, and compared to everyone who's still alive from the Beach Boys, Al's voice has stood the test of time. It's probably the best out of the living members. But I think as you said, probably Matt, that it is so out of place on this album, on here with all the other stuff, that it's sort of like, why is this on here? It's sort of similar to Still Cruising, but that's a whole nother conversation down the road.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like the rock and beat at the beginning, and I think it's such a great aspect of the song. So I give it an 8 out of 10 just because I like the rocking aspect of it. But if it was in terms of where it places on the list, then definitely a 4 or lower.
Yeah, that's a good take. No, you and Matt should hang out more often. You guys have a lot of the same kind of deals. You both love Al's vocal. I couldn't disagree with you anymore. Carl, are you not hearing the theme that Carl saves this entire album with his voice? No, I'm just messing with you, Nolan. But you guys both think Al's vocal is fantastic, which I totally agree with you. And I love what you said, Nolan, about standing the test of time, because clearly it worked on Come Go With Me. Yeah. And then Matt, he also did Peggy Sue, so he kind of loved the whole cover thing was working for him.
Yeah.
This time, I don't think so. I got to give this one a 2 out of a 10. I think this is
Wow.
this one and When Girls Get Together are 2 of the worst Beach Boys songs, and this isn't even a Beach Boys song, so I guess I can't even count that. But I hate this. I hate it so much. I think it's so poorly done. It's not like Al's vocal isn't good on it. I don't think it's a great performance. Production's pretty bad. I mean,
I love the
I think
harmonies, man. I love the harmony.
I think it's cool that like some of the Wrecking Crew guys played on it. That makes it a little bit better.
Yeah.
But that only moves it like, a 1/10 of a point to me. Doesn't move it too much. So I can't give it a lot of credit. I hate the song. I hate it so much. But would love to know what the chat thinks. What chat? Jim Murphy says School Days was planned as a single release in the U.S. and then canceled. A few promotional 45s got out by mistake and are extremely collectible. Whoa, Jim, do you have one? Do we have one of those 45s?
I don't think so.
Stacy gives it a 10. Wow. We got a lot of love for School Days, like you guys. You guys like
Night
it too.
Owl Darren gives it a 10.
Wow. Why can you can you put if you give it a 10, can you tell me why? I would love to know. What your thoughts are. I'm really interested. Matt says our band does this one through the whole song and drop right into the Beach Boy version of rock and roll music. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I love that.
Cool.
He gives it an 8 out of 10. Patricia asks a fair question. Did they at least credit Chuck Berry with this one?
Yeah.
This time around.
Yeah, this time around. Yeah.
Well, I
Aaron,
would be giving him all the credit on that song. I wouldn't. try to
Aaron
steal
says
that
they
one.
rocked the song when they played it in 1980. And yeah, I said so. Aaron brings up a good point. I think live it's maybe a different thing.
Yeah.
They played on the Nebworth show, and it's pretty cool. It's got a lot of energy. Dennis playing the drums on it, of course.
Whoa! Check this out, you guys. Claire just made a comment. Did you see Whitney's comment? Blink-182 was singing "Good Vibrations." So okay, everybody, in case you don't know, Whitney is a friend of the show. Claire is a friend of the show, and Whitney, who joins us a lot, is at a Blink-182 concert, and right now they're playing "Good Vibrations." How crazy is that?
Weird. Yeah.
That's
neat.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that little bit of Beach Boys with Blink-182. I love that. Very cool.
Marco said, yes, Al on Peggy Sue with Dennis on drums totally rocks like Fleetwood Mac. I agree. I love that cover of Peggy Sue on MIU. It rocks. It really does.
Yeah.
Teresa gave it a 10. Joe gave it a 6. Night Owl Darren said the vocals rock on that song. So interesting. We got a lot of all over the place on that one. But all right, we ready to flip the record over, Greg?
Let's flip the record over, fellas.
So you flip the record over, and to me, I think you have one of the most overlooked Beach Boys songs in their catalog that's not was finally put on a Greatest Hits compilation, the expanded Sounds of Summer, but to me it should have been on all their Greatest Hits. This is a classic Brian Wilson, Mike Love song. And Greg, you got to talk about that part in the middle. That's really, really neat. You made the little video about it, remember? But anyway, the song's called Going On. It's got like a Sail on Sailor kind of vibe to it. That's why God made the radio, same kind of beat.
Is ready? Let's do it. When in the morning I must arrive, I look in the mirror, it couldn't be clearer. Something is gone from my eyes. Going on, going on. I know what is missing, 'cause since you've been gone, my mind keeps on reeling, with something, my heart keeps on beating. Why is my love going on, going on, going on, going on? I love you, I miss you, things won't be the same till I'm with you. I'm empty without you, my heart's filled with my arms around you. Going on, you said it was over, we're living apart. We couldn't quite make it, still I can't shake it. Why is my love going on, going on, going on? I love you forever, love won't be the same again ever. Without you, I'm longing, you gave me a sense of belonging. Going on, Damn, that song rocks. What a cool song.
Yeah.
I give that 10 out of 10. No, like 11 out of 10. Fantastic.
No
song.
doubt. No doubt. You got first of all, great lyrics by Mike Love. You got
Fantastic
all
lyrics.
the Brian Wilson magic in that song with the arrangement, the harmonies, the stuff going on in the middle. And then you have I love you. Carl's voice is so rocking in that song.
Baby.
So I think this era Beach Boys 1980, this is what it was about. Like when they're on their game. Great song, great sound. It's a 10. By the way, it's a 10 for me, not just on this album. It's a 10 in their whole catalog.
No, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, and I don't know if you agree, because I know I want to get your thoughts on this, but yeah, Matt, this belongs on every greatest hits.
Yeah.
Whether it's a hit or not, this is a top 10 Beach Boys song, period.
God Only Knows is a 10, and this song is a 10. I'll say that. No doubt.
I agree with you. Nolan, what do you think, buddy?
I think it's as you both said, a great song. One of the prime examples of what could have been if they kept at this level and not something like School Days consistently on their stuff. But what are we gonna do? There's no such thing as a time machine.
True.
I think the sax solo is unbelievable. I love that aspect. It's such a great song. It's mellow, but then also it can rock, and I think it's a great song. I give it the least I would give it is an 8. There's definitely potential with the sax solo bringing it up at least a 9 or above.
Yeah.
An 8, yeah, I love it.
Greg, talk about what he does in the middle before we hit the chat, because that really is a clever thing Brian does in 1980, who said he wasn't interested, didn't have it. But that part in the middle there is pretty neat, right?
So, yeah, it's interesting because I put this out on Instagram as a reel, and it did really well. And we're talking about the key change here, folks. So we have this cool thing where we're in the key of C. So, excuse me, B flat, right? And you have this thing where it goes, dang it. Going. And you expect it to go on, but instead, during the sax solo, you have this key change, this tonal center change, where it kind of changes the focus. Going on.
Yeah.
And that is such a cool thing that I had never heard before. And it hits you, especially as a musician, it hits you right in the chest. You're like, oh, that is so great. What a creative way to do to change the outlook of the tune. All of a sudden the tune opens up and it creates this space for the sax solo, which is just so fantastic. It's a really cool way to create this neat atmosphere in a song that I had never heard in a Beach Boys song before that time. The problem is, Matt, we're really quick to give Brian Wilson credit for everything.
Yeah.
And I am about 50% sure that it's Brian, because I heard someone on Instagram also commented that it also could have been Bruce. And when I listen to this, when you listen to
schmaltzy.
Sounds
Bruce.
very Brucey. It could be very Brucey. So
it
I
could
love
be,
it.
but
Yeah.
Either way, the song is great. It's that it is a whether he imagined that or not, it's a neat part of the song, and the song totally is a Wilson Love classic track.
A classic track.
Yeah.
Chat, what do you think? Walling gives it a 10. Kent gives it a solid 9. Nice tune. Love it. Steve Douglas does the sax. Thank you, Ed, for sharing that. That's awesome. I think the hook line going on is weird to sing. Claire said that. That's funny, Claire. Going on. It kind
Bobby
kind of
Jewell
is.
said, God Only Knows is a 10. To say this is a 10 is fine, but you are insulting the 10 given to God Only Knows. No, I don't. Again, we don't have to compare song for song. This can be a 10 and that can be a 10. You can like them for different reasons, but I get what you're saying. I mean, but I'm just saying in the Beach Boys catalog, this song's right up there with anything. I
think then you take all the 10s and you rank them. God Only Knows is pretty far ahead of Going On. I agree. I think
no doubt.
I think we all can agree on that.
Right.
God Only Knows is probably number 1, right, of any Beach Boys song. But Going On is a killer track for sure. So I love it. Greg Shady says, I think it's Brian. Bob. Hey, Bob. Vaden Bob's in the house. Bob, we missed you, buddy. Bob gives it an 11. I agree with you, Bob. Fantastic. See the Wave asked, do they still play this today? Do we know? Nolan, do you know?
The only song the only song I could think that they might play in any iteration of the band would be Al playing Santa Ana Winds. But that I don't even know if he does that anymore. I think he did it one time, but that would probably be the only one because he's a co-writer on that one.
Sure.
But that's, and I don't know why the Beach Boys didn't play Going On in concert. You know, I'd like to tell ask Mike Love to play that, or, you know, if Brian ever gets back out there again, because it's such a cool song. But
that might be too much of a deep cut of a song.
Yeah, on a deep album, right? Nobody knows the album, so it's like super deep. It's true.
Yeah.
I love it.
Plus, if you told that to Mike Love, he probably would play it for you. It is something that I was told by some of the members.
Oh, is that right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hey,
not saying that specific song, but saying things of nature. If you mention a song that didn't play,
I see. Yeah, it's a good one to me. It should have been a hit. Should have been a big hit. Okay, let's move on.
Let's do it.
The next song on the record is an interest. Now, maybe somebody in the chat can tell me this, because my understanding is this song was based off of another song, but the writing credit here is Brian Wilson and Mike Love again. And so I couldn't find any information on it, but it's an interesting song. Another Ricky Fattar plays drums on this one too. It's called Sunshine.
Guys ready?
Yeah. Oh, you get the.
Dum, 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 be dum, be doo, dum, 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 be doo, ooh. With a smile, she brings me life. She can make my whole day bright. She brings out the sun and out. She's my sunshine. I get to go sailing in a boat, just to her and me, and propose that she'll be my only one. She can make you feel so fine, like to love her all the time. She's the reason I'm unpleasing, my sunshine. Someday I'm gonna marry her, somewhere I'm gonna carry her to a place where we can play in the sun. Never felt a kiss so sweet. Never could I ever meet someone even as sweet as my sunshine. Someday I'm gonna marry her, somewhere I'm gonna carry her to a place where we can play in the sun.
Nice.
All right, Nolan, what do you think about this one, buddy?
I think your version, Greg, maybe enjoy it more because it was not one of my favorite songs on the album. If I wanted to listen to a song that reminded me of Caribbean atmosphere, like Bermuda, I
Yes.
would travel down there.
Yeah.
It wasn't my jam. I mean, the simplicity of the lyrics, I think makes me enjoy it a little bit, but it wasn't my favorite. I like the intro, main vocals, but besides that, it wasn't my jam per se.
Okay. And what did you give it a score?
I gave it a low 7 out of 10.
Okay. All right. You kind of say this album for you, Nolan, is kind of floating kind of around that ballpark, right?
Yeah, I mean, I once I started listening to it, it was an aspect of other albums where you listen to a song, oh, that song is good. Oh, that song is good. That song is good. But it's not something that would be on my regular repeat in my car.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Matt, what do you think, brother?
I love it. I love that it's got that weird Caribbean vibe, and whatever that instrument is in the middle. What do you call it?
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, steel pan.
Yeah, the steel pan. I like the beat. I like it. I probably give it about an 8. I think the harmony's great. It kind of repeats a lot. There's not much to it, like Nolan said. It's kind of a simple song, but I think it's fun. Yeah, I give it an 8. I like listening to it.
Yeah, I'm with you on an 8, 7, 7.5, 8. It's just kind of a classic Brian Wilson funny tune. Like there's not much to it, but like I said, the melodically it's fun. I think the harmony's really cool. You know, the summer day, and then you have the "My Gonna Marry You." That's like such a nice way to do that. I think I think it's a cool tune. I enjoy it. But Nolan, you're right. It's kind of got that Caribbean vibe. You know, it's pretty cool. I dig it on the album. But would love to know. Oh, Billy says Ricky Fattar on the drums on this one.
Yeah, he is. Yep. Yeah,
That's
I
pretty
said
cool.
that to you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Todd Peter gives an ace. Ian Harris says, "Oh no, another hideous one, another plotter. Composition has no imagination at all. Can't believe the Beach Boys got to this low level. Totally forgettable. 2 out of 10. Lightweight production. Wow. Ian's not holding back tonight. That's okay. You know what? That's what this is all about. We want to know what you think. But Ian does not like this one. Ed says Sunshine was partially recorded in 1978. Ed, we're gonna have to start giving you the crown of like expert, official chat expert. I love
That's right. We need Beach Boy Talk experts on here. Yeah.
What else you guys think? Nowhere Man says 7. It's a really fun song. I think so too. It's fun. That's what I love about it. Alan gives it an 8. Thanks, Alan, for being here. Stacy, Matt, look at what Stacy gave it. Wait, no, dang it! I gotta stop doing that.
That's a 7.
It's a 7. I thought Stacy gave it a 1. I'm like, Stacy, I don't think I've ever seen you give a 1 to anything. Stacy gives it a 7. I'm sorry about that, Stacy. Greg Shady, I think if Brian Wilson put his name on it, then it's a 10. All right, that's one way to look at it for sure. Joyce gives it a 6.5. Bobby Joel gives it a. Is that a 3?
That's a 3, and he said he's feeling generous.
Wow.
He's in the Ian camp on this one.
Love it. Well, fun. This has been fun. We've got, looks like we've got, a few tracks left, right?
We got our next track on. Now, I will say, I think the first half of this album is stronger than the second half. I almost wish they put Going On and replaced it with School Day, because then you could just listen to those 5 songs and it'd be awesome, you know, because those really are strong. Keeping the Summer Alive, Oh Darling, Some of Your Love, Living with a Heartache. And imagine if Going On was next, but they probably had to have something on the second side. So Sunshine's okay. Okay. Now the next one again is one we've already panned. We've talked about. It was written in the Sunflower era. And of course it wasn't good enough to make the Sunflower album. I don't know why they thought it was 11 years later. They thought it was great, but it's called When Girls Get Together.
I don't want to do this one.
I gave Mike Love some credit for some of the lyrics on this album, but I'm going to give him credit for having terrible lyrics on this song. I just got to say, it's awful. It's brutal.
When girls get together, they like to talk about their latest love, and their description seems somehow to fit just like a glove. When girls get together, they don't waste time on things like weather and stuff. This is awful. They all just play around and never seem to discuss it enough.
Okay, speaking of enough, you don't have to go on.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm getting
This
creepy.
song is utter garbage.
Okay, just because it's a song and I can't write a song,
Kurt, stop, Greg. Please stop. Oh, that's great.
Hideous Bad Bar Music a 0. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 because I wouldn't give any song a 0, but that's gonna be the lowest.
A 5?
A 4 or 5. It's the lowest I'm gonna give any song on the album. It clearly is, if not one of the worst Beach Boys songs in their whole catalog, in my opinion. So, maybe I'll just give it a 1 since it's a song. I don't know. I almost want to give it a 0.
Yeah.
Dude, Nolan, go. What'd you think, buddy?
Have you both seen Dumbo the movie?
Yes, a long time.
Yeah.
Remember the
ago.
scene where Dumbo gets drunk and he's like wobbling and stumbling around?
Yes.
That's what the song reminds me of. Between that or when Pinocchio's on Pleasure Island and he turns into the donkey and they're like all like high from like the cigar smoke and everything.
Okay.
It's just not my favorite song on this album of all. If I could give it a 0 as well, I would.
Yeah.
But I have to be nice because who knows who's tuning into the show, and God forbid if I'm in the wrong books. I think it feels a total Italian restaurant type of beat to the song. It's just so slow and not my jam. And it's similar to a few other songs that remain on this album that are a bummer to me.
The lyrics are so dumb too.
Guys, I have to believe that if Mike Love, and we'll never get Mike Love on the show, but if we were to get Mike Love on the show, I have to believe that I could say, Mike, just be honest, be like, when girls get together, do you think about those lyrics now? And I have to think that Mike would be, it was a different time, different place. I don't love it. We don't play it now. It's like we all have things. I don't think he's going to be like, oh, fantastic song. I wish we play it now. I don't think he would say that,
Greg, look at the hottest take I've seen in a long time. Ian is on fire tonight. 10 out of 10. Love the exploration of what girls talk about in day-to-day conversations. It sounds like Brian in the Friends era. Nice production, a little bit of mandolin in there. I think a standout track. Wow. That's one way to think about it.
Man, Ian.
Hey, Greg, back to the original conversation, though. How can you say this album's better than MIU when it has this song on it? I mean, this is like it cancels out Going On. Do you know what I mean? In a way.
No, anyway. It cancels out Hey Little Tomboy. So go ahead and let's put the rest of the tracks up against each other, and I'm pretty sure this album wins out.
And Ian, to be fair, I will say I did have a couple people tell me to listen to just the backing track, just the music. That the music is really nice in this one, but I haven't done that.
I love Matt's comment, weather and stuff. It's like you all have to say weather and stuff. Come on, Mike. Mike has written some of the best lyrics, and this was weather and stuff. And Brian does not get a pass here. It's like everything about it is awful. This is one of Brian's worst songs. I don't know what they were.
That's why I wonder why it sat in the vault for 11 years, and they were like, "Let's pull this gem out and throw it on an album."
We want to be commercial still and do very well, but let's put this song on the album.
Yeah, I know exactly,
dude. I don't understand. Hey, Emily. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, I wonder why this doesn't chart, guys. Why isn't this charting? It's definitely not because of this song.
We don't know. Yeah. That's nice, Nolan. Good call. Emily says, would you try to get John Stamos on the show? I have always said this, and I really mean it. Matt, we will be done with the show if we ever get John Stamos on. John Stamos interview will be the last episode of Beach Boys Talk ever, and that's our walk off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's over. There's no. I'm saying it now. If we ever get John Stamos on the show, it'll be our last Beach Boy Talk episode. It's over. It's been a fun trip.
Marco said, sorry, Greg, but this is funny. He wrote, "It is weird how deep Brian and Mike think about immature themes." Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's so funny because they do have songs. True. Like, this song's supposed to be so dramatic. And I'm sorry, Ian, we're not crapping on it too much, but it's just they take themselves too seriously, about talking about the weather and
stuff. It's such a good point.
I don't know. They had a lot of decent music, real productive era in 69 and 70 when they wrote When Girls Get Together. So maybe that's why they didn't put it on an album at the time, but I think it was wise to leave it. I mean, you can't take that back once it's out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, Hey Little Tomboy, so, you can't take it back.
I'll agree with Ian in that it does kind of have a Friends smiley smile vibe. Yeah. Especially at the end. I didn't play it, but it's got this cool thing where it does this. It's got the steel or whatever. I believe it's a steel guitar, but it's it's got this really cool kind of deal. It kind of reminds me of like a Friends smiley smile type feel. So I understand that, but lyrically, musically, beyond that, I can't do it. So let's move on here, fellas. We've got 2 more songs, and my next song is one of my favorites on the album, Matt.
Yeah, this one. Okay, we need another historian here, and maybe you know this too, Nolan, but Santa Ana Winds is the next one. It's one of the rare Brian Wilson Al Jardine collaborations, and all theirs are pretty good. Like Wake the World is one, for instance, that sticks out. That's really cool. But anyway, Santa Ana Winds is the name of it, and Bob Vaden did say in the chat that Al plays it at all his shows, pretty much, the song. But I believe this song was not written in this era. I believe this was another song that was written earlier, but just recorded. But that's why I was asking for somebody knows out there. But anyway, it's called Santa Ana Winds.
I got the beginning part. Check it out. Here in Southern California, there's a weather condition known as the Santa Ana winds. And up here in the Northwest, we have 85 degrees today.
Thank you, Ed. Partially recorded in 1978 around MIU. Thank you.
Fire wind, desert wind. She was born in a desert breeze. Fire way, canyon way, from the desert to the silvery sea. In every direction, we see the perfection. We see the St. Gabriel mountain sea. Santa Ana wind keep blowing across my eyes. Santa Ana winds keep blowing across my mind. Fill my sails, the desert wind, and hold the waves out for me. And I will come and test my skill where the Santa Ana winds blow free. Waves of elation, upon a creation, becoming one with the boundless sea. Santa Ana wind keep blowing across my eyes. Santa Ana winds keep blowing across my eyes. I am wind, desert wind, on my pilgrimage to the sea. I will prevail, I will not fail, to bring life into humanity. My song is creation. I'm letting go. Sorry. I wanted a nation, a whisper in the wisdom and its purity. Santa Ana winds keep blowing across my eyes. Santa Ana winds keep blowing across my eyes. Santa Ana winds keep blowing across my eyes. All right.
Yeah. Like, nice job, brother. I wanted to address this real quick in the chat. It says, this is from Matthew. Is it just me
Hey,
or
Matthew.
is Al Jardine the best singer in the group? Sorry if that hurts to read. I have said that
Oh,
on the show
Matthew.
for a long time.
His name is
that
Matthew
Al,
too.
Yeah, that
Dude,
Al
Matt,
is the
Matt, are you secretly in the chat chatting as another Matthew?
no Matthew Robert. I think it says. I agree with you, Matthew. I think Al is the most consistent singer in the group and the best. I agree with you. And Ian said 10 out of 10. Great song. Over in the UK, a national radio DJ on BBC Radio 2 played this constantly over the years. I'm not surprised. Nice vocals, even nasally Mike sounds good. Love the song. I'm going to give it a 8.5. I like it a lot. It's definite. You can definitely hear again the Brian Wilson influence, but Al's got away with words too. I'm surprised he didn't write more songs with, more lyrics for the band because his lyrics are always pretty decent, So I like it a lot.
Yeah.
8.5.
In waves of elation, my part of creation, becoming one with the boundless sea. That's a cool line,
And then the other one's the Silvery Sea or something. It's pretty cool,
Nice.
So yeah.
Nolan, what do you think about this one, buddy?
I mean, I think that's Al's good thing. A good thing about him is that he's very nature and environmentally conscious and stuff. And that's you see it a lot in his lyrics.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to this song and I think Big Sur, I'm more of a fan of Big Sur if you're looking at more of that same type of vibe or story. I'm not a huge fan of it. I like more of Al's covers and the Beach Boys stuff than some of his original material. It's not my most favorite song of the Beach Boys or on this album.
Okay. Guys, I'm going to shock you here. I give this song a 9. I think this is one of Al's best compositions. And once again, and this is the musician in me, but I think not being a musician, I think you can figure this out. But you can hear Brian in this song. You can hear
Yep.
You can this with every direction. Like that's totally Brian. Like Brian and Al working together. I love it. I think it's a great tune. Lyrics are fantastic.
Yep.
And you know what it sounds like to me, production wise? This sounds like it could have been right after California Saga on Holland. I think it just could have been another one of those kind of tunes.
Yeah.
And you kind of hear that old school Beach Boys sound. I love it. I think it's
Do you know who played harmonica on it?
No. Is it Tommy?
Tommy Morgan, yeah.
No way.
Isn't that cool? So again,
how
I
special is that? Rest
one
in
of the
peace,
things
Tommy
I love
Morgan.
about this album, yeah, they got some of the classic guys back for it, you know. So
I love that. Okay, chat, what do you think about this song? Bob says underutilized Al. Man, if we ever, or we'll never get Al on the show, but if we ever get super lucky, Al might be one we end the show with as well too.
Yeah.
I just have to ask him, why was he not?
yeah,
It had to have been by choice that he was not included more on these records. I just don't understand. But
I don't know. I love it. Yeah. Daddy Bog finally gave it a good. He gave it 8.5. Said best song on the album. So
yeah, I love this song. I think it's a great one. So, Carol gives it 9. Fits with all of the other California Saga songs. Oh, dang! Carol and I, two great minds think alike. So I totally think it could have been on Holland. I love it. Wallene gives it a 10. Thanks, Wallene, for being here. Nowhere Man. What is Carl saying at the end? Something deep inside. I can tell you right now. No, I can't. Oh, it does not say on here. That's a good question. I don't know. I love it. Bobby Jewell gives it an 8. Taylor gives it Never Say Never. It'd be tough. It'd be a tough mountain to climb. But Marco, Santa Ana Winds was supposed to be part of 3-part suite. Oh, okay. So we're kind of close. That's funny. I guess not too far off there. But Kearney gives it a 9. Thanks for sharing that, Marco. Aaron, getting Brian would be the greatest thing. Brian would be awesome. Brian would be Mike. Any of the original Beach Boys would be fantastic. I'd probably end of the show. I think that would probably do it for us. But cool, everybody. All right, Matt, we end the album.
all right, we finally. So you can't have an album in the decade of the 70s to 80s without a little. No offense to Bruce, but a little schmaltzy Bruce tune. I will say that this is one of my favorite Bruce songs. So I'm kind of half kidding. It's just, right away it's a Bruce song, right? When it starts is my point. You're like, because of how he does it. But it's called Endless Harmony. And when he originally started writing it, he started in 1971, Surf's Up era, or 72. It was called 10 Years of Harmony. And so it was kind of a song that lasted a while, but it's called Endless Harmony. Let's hear it, Greg.
Matt, can I give like a visual
Ocean Lover?
like a personification of this song? Okay, this is okay. You guys ready? I'm this song, or I'm like listening to this song. Okay, I listen to this song. Okay, we're getting halfway through. I'm about to leave the room, and then all of a sudden Carl starts singing.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like, wait a second, what's going on here? What's going on here? Carl,
and it's the shortest part of the song.
And it's
in fact,
so great.
You are so right. I read a review. I was reading a bunch of reviews today, and one of them said that they were like, Endless Harmony kind of plods along. It sounds like a Bruce song, but it's not as good as Deirdre or whatever Disney Girls. But then all of a sudden, you want to stay because you hear Carl come in with that awesome vocal.
All of a sudden, Carl sings, and you're like, the sky opens up. You're like, what's happening right now? So I love it. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But,
that's okay. And I just want to say to Aaron Rodriguez, I think you're new to the show. Thank you for being here. We actually did have David Marks on the show. So if you look at our YouTube channel, we have a nice interview with him. He was great. So thanks. So all right, let's hear it.
Should I do the
Oh, Kurt said it. Brucey schmaltz until Carl comes in, and then it is awesome. Yeah, exactly. I love how he wrote, and then it is awesome, because that's true. It is.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
ocean lovers who like to harmonize. They're all cousins, friends, and brothers who make their mamas cry. They're record-making, heartbreaking, just West Coast boys. I know it's the beginning in this harmony. Strive for freedom. Babe, no heroes going on the road. Oh, sorry. Strive for freedom. Babe, no heroes down the road. Where there's mid-60s screaming. Nighttime holiday scheming. Music growing, vibration showing. What's it all mean? Well, I know it means that there's in this harmony. And we sing, God bless America. It's a land that we adore. She takes great care of us. And people love the way we sing. We sing, damn it, I suck. But anyway, that's the song. I love the back half of that tune.
I do
it's
too.
Fantastic. Carl's vocals great. Production's great. The writing's great. It's where Bruce kind of like, if I could talk to Bruce and like back in the day, I would have said, Bruce, bottle that and do that more often. Whatever that is. I think it's great.
If I could ever interview him, I would ask him that. I'd be like, why didn't you keep going with that part? Because it's God, and it's so fast.
Why
that
didn't
it's
you
over.
cut out the entire beginning of this and just do that?
And start it that way? I once read one time, and I died. They said Bruce Johnston's songs are the coefficient of cheese. That always made me laugh. You know, the math, because it's true in a way. But I got to say, out of all his songs, he's a great songwriter. There's no doubt. Sometimes I wonder, do they fit on Beach Boys at records? But this is actually one that I like more than some of his others, actually. But it's because of the second half, as everybody is saying here, you know. So,
Nolan, what do you think, buddy?
Yeah, I have to agree with Matt. It's just the first 2 minutes to me are a waste of the song before Carl finally comes in. And I believe, Matt, you might have said this in the previous episode, where I think Bruce was too advanced or too, I don't want to say high cultured or high society, but his ability as a musician as particularly, were so different from the Beach Boys and how they were that just a song like Endless Summer doesn't, I think, fit with a Keeping the Summer Alive type of album or song or vibe to it. Carl's lyric or vocals save the song for me, but other than that, it's sort of like a crash landing in my perspective of an album ending on a song like this, especially if they had all those other songs in the catalog.
Yeah.
I think it's a crash landing, but like all of a sudden when Carl starts singing, we have survivors.
Yeah.
Like people are, Nolan, that's such a good take because I don't think anybody doubts Bruce's musical ability. I think he's a super talented guy. Obviously has written some really great songs. But yeah, just not a super great fit for a lot of the tunes he did. Always felt really out of place. I think maybe the exceptions might be like a Sunflower situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, his tunes always felt little odd, except this back part where he's got Carl going. The writing's good. I wish he had done more of that kind of stuff, but whatever.
Yeah.
Let's go to the chat. Walling gives it a 9. Cindy gives it a 3. Wow. Oh boy.
Wow.
Matt Hurley says Bruce once said on live TV, I think Dick Clark was the interviewer, that he felt his own style was too smooth for the Beach Boys sound. He thought it didn't fit as well. Yeah, so I don't think it's anything that would surprise.
I've heard him say that before.
Yeah. But Greg Shady says 10 because Bruce wrote it
as a fan of the band. That means it came from his heart. That's a nice thought, Greg. I like that thought for sure. Bobby Jewell says, I've always been confused by the title and the 1974 compilation. Oh, yeah, mixing them back and forth. Endless Summer, Endless Harmony. Bruce is Barry Manilow. That is his genre, for sure. Absolutely. Tiago gives it a 7. See the Wave, and we eventually bought the Brother Records twofer. Yeah. Was it a twofer on this? Oh, Endless Harmony. That's right. Good call, See the Wave. Joyce gives it a 7. McCrinna, chop off and throw out the beginning and make the second half a different song. Totally. I agree with that, McCrinna. Tim, hey Tim, gives it a 10.
Tim coming strong, 10.
Tim, strong. I like it. That's good stuff. This was fun, you guys. Did we change any minds tonight on your end in terms of this album?
But I have a great Mike Love story and Bruce Johnson story that I have to tell you before we end here today.
Let's go.
But I have to use the bathroom quickly.
Go ahead. We'll chat. When you get back, we'll get a cool. We'll do a tease. When we get back, Nolan will tell us a very cool Mike Love Bruce Johnson story.
And let me address this, Billy. Hey, Billy, it's good to see you here.
Hey, Billy.
Because you guys are always so hard on Bruce. It's not. I don't mean to be hard on Bruce. It's again, Bruce is an amazing, phenomenal musician. I talked about him last week on his birthday. He was able to come in last minute, lock himself in a room and learn how to play the bass so he could tour with the Beach Boys. He's on some of the most classic, tags in all the Beach Boys songs because Brian thought he was a great singer. So it's not a matter of that we don't like him or like him as a person or don't think he's a good musician. It's just his songs. I just don't feel like they all fit on Beach Boys albums. You can make the same argument with like Blondie Chaplin and Ricky Fattar songs that they don't sound like Beach Boys songs. You know what I mean?
Billy,
it's a similar thing,
Matt, I'll hop on that. I think I'm just as hard on like Dennis. I think Dennis's writing is the same kind of thing. Dennis's tunes just don't fit with Beach Boy stuff. It doesn't, and it's not that Dennis is a bad writer or anything like that, but his stuff always sounds and feels so out of place. And so I think I put Dennis, Bruce, Ricky in the category of like stuff that does not fit what I like about the Beach Boys. I'm not a huge fan of Dennis stuff, not a huge fan of Bruce stuff. But yeah, I think we probably are hard on Bruce, but also hard on Bruce because he's everywhere. You know what I mean? It's not like, he's just like he's on one album and it's gone. He's on everything. So we talk about him a lot to his credit, but yeah, I'm not a huge, like I said, I love that second half of the song. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I like Deirdre. Deirdre's awesome.
Yeah. I like Deirdre a lot too.
Let's hear it, Nolan.
Nolan, go.
So obviously I'm on here because I'm a big Beach Boys fan as well. We both have similar products. When I had Scott Tunn on my show a while ago, before the newer version of the group, I talked to him saying, "Oh, hey, I'm going to be coming to one of your shows. It's going to be the first time I'm going to the Beach Boys show. Just want to let you know." And he said, "Okay, awesome, great. I'll set you aside 2 backstage passes. You can come visit backstage to come see us after the show." So I said, "Awesome, great." So when I went to the show, and I'm from Rhode Island, so it's not like a LA or a New York City Times Square where you're going to be seeing celebrities all across. So this is a big deal going to Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. I go to the show. It's going great. And I could tell it's getting to the end of the show, and my hands are getting sweaty and nervous because I'm going to have to go backstage.
Oh,
and
so cool.
Of course, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame group, amazing musicians and singers, getting nervous. And then we get to the end. I get this shirt that I get from the merch stand. I'm wiping my hands off because I'm just so nervous about the situation. The concert ends. We start making our way to like the side exit of the building where all the lockers are for the people working there. And either the tour manager or the actual manager, a nice lady, knows what she's doing on top of the ball, of course, especially with this group. And she says, "Okay, everyone who's going backstage has to have their wristbands. If they don't, they can't be back here." So I said it, and the one time I'll swear, I said, "Oh shit," to my mother who's watching here. "Oh shit, we don't have our wristbands. What are we going to do? This is going to be horrendous." Because don't get me wrong, I like the music. I'm a huge fan of the Christmas stuff, but I came to go backstage to an extent and whatever. And then she said, "Okay, if people know that you're supposed to be coming back to see them, you can go do that. Just tell me your name." And then she came up to me and I said, "Nolan Carr." And I went backstage and they're taking us through the tunnels and everything. When we get backstage, and it's like a whole different atmosphere than it was when they're playing. They're all calm, quiet, talking to others. Mike sitting in his Scarface type light chair. There's Bruce sitting in another chair, having a small wine glass of white wine in it. A huge setup of everything. And we go back and there's Scott. He's talking to me and asking about the shows and stuff and what I like. And I'm trying to do my best, of course, to be appreciative and whatnot. And then he introduced me to Bruce, and Bruce is sitting down, and Bruce is not knowing what's going on at the moment. And he says, "Oh, this is Nolan. He has this program, and he wanted you to sign a shirt." And he said, "No problem." And then I'm proceeding to talk to Bruce, and he's asking me, "What am I in school? Did I graduate? What my plans are?" And he said, "You should get your master's degree because all of my sons all have their master's degree." And then he asked me, "What are you doing right now?" I said, "Oh, I'm working at the local recreation center, helping kids have a healthy lifestyle." And he said, and I quote, "Good. You should help with the kids nowadays because they're all fat." And just saying they need help with that stuff. And I asked him about Pink Floyd because he worked with them and all that stuff. And we're talking and laughing. And he said he's a big fan of Daryl's Garage, whatever the show's called on YouTube.
Yeah, love. That's great.
Live at Daryl's, yeah.
And then he asked, and my dad wasn't there, but he asked where he was. And I made him laugh by saying, "My sisters aren't here because they're not Beach Boy fans as well." And then he commented, and he complimented my mother, no joke. And she's watching here, so don't cringe too much, Mom. He complimented her saying, "Next time, make him come here so someone else here with nice teeth is also at the concert as well." So he complimented my mother on her good-looking teeth, I guess.
Wow, all right.
But he's like, "Take anything you want from the back counter where all the stuff was." And then the mecca of all mecca moments, Scott introduced me to Mike Love, who, like I said, is sitting in his Scarface black leather Tony Montana chair off the side, just taking everything in with his hippie colored shirt and everything, and his rings, good vibrations, and his bracelets and everything. And Scott says, "Oh, this is Nolan Carr. He has a Beach Boy show," which wasn't necessarily entirely true, but that's not the point.
Right.
And he said he's got this, and this is his first time, whatever. And Mike gives me the classic thumbs up. And we start chatting, and he's hard of hearing. I'm saying, "Oh, Mike, I was listening to All This Is That," which is his favorite song, listening to all these songs and talking about music and doo-wop and stuff. And the key moment after he signed my shirt, I don't know if it was him or Bruce who said, "Stand still," while he's signing the shirt on the back of my back. But I go in for a handshake to shake Mike's hand to say thank you. And as I'm putting my hand out, he puts his fist out for a fist bump and starts giggling in my face. And I said, what an embarrassment of situations.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I met Tim Bonham beforehand at a restaurant.
Nice.
At the show, I was eating with my mother at this bar, and there's some squawking ladies next to us. And I see this guy looking down, eating whatever the meal was. And he's eating, and the lady says, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" "Oh, we're going to the Beach Boy show. My son's a big fan." The guy next to them is like, nodding his head or whatever, keeping to himself. He finishes, walks away, and I said to my mother, "Do you know who that was?" That was Tim Bonham sitting right next to us. And I knew that right when we sat down. And then we get backstage and we turn around, and there's him talking to some girl and saying, "Oh my gosh." And it was so funny. And then I got them to sign the shirt and everything. And of course, Mike's signature sign is "Love, Mike Love," which is
so
a
cool.
good thing to remember. But it was a weird situation, but it's another moment where it's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cool,
I don't think you're alone in that when you meet. Matt and I did when Brian was doing the Pet Sounds tour, one of the later ones, we ended up kind of splurging and doing one of the meet and greet kind of thing. And it was such a weird thing meeting those guys, because what do you say to them that's going to actually engage? You know what I mean? It's such a weird thing because they don't know who you are, and within reason they don't really care. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just like you're one of 1,000 people they probably talked to that day, so you can't really blame them. So it's kind of cool that you had some interaction with them. I'm pretty jealous that you could, because I don't think I could do that, Nolan. I think I would have a hard time talking with them,
And I took all this time to write down some of my favorite albums and songs and stuff. I didn't get to that, but to speak to Bruce Johnson about my educational future is sort of a weird situation, because he's a brilliant guy in and of itself, compared to when I went to go see Al perform, and Bobby Figueroa, who commented on how nice of a person I am, so thank you, Bobby, before the show got started.
That's cool.
But he signed my LA Light album. He said, "Oh, I played on that," and that was great. And then Matt Jardine, if you're tuning in, Matt signed the album, said, "Oh, I remember that was made." And as he's signing it, the actual album falls out of the sleeve and onto the ground at the concert.
Awesome.
And Matt was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," and was freaking out. I'm like, if it was another album from the catalog, I would be much more upset. But since it's LA Light album, I'm not too upset about the situation. I didn't say that,
Wow.
but I was just in pure shock because it was a
Yeah.
funny situation.
No, that's you know what? That's cool. That's a story, man. I mean,
Yeah.
So cool, man.
yeah. Nolan, well, you're not kidding, man. And Bobby Figueroa was not kidding. You're a great
Yeah.
dude, man. And we're so we're honored to have you join us tonight, man. It was really, really fun.
It was a lot of
Will you
fun,
do
man.
us a favor. Will you tell everybody where we can find your show again? Because you've had some
Yeah,
great
yeah.
guests on, some guests that we haven't had on too, Beach Boy
Yeah.
related. So can you kind of tell everybody how we find you again?
Yes, I mean, obviously you can follow me on social media, Nolan Carr at night on Twitter and Instagram, and then it's on YouTube, the video version. Again, if you want to see my amazing face, go on the YouTube version, but it's also on the audio platforms as well. And that's just sort of what it is. It's once a week, and I do my best to get some interesting guests. I haven't done Beach Boy musicians in a while. It's hard, of course, to compete with how great of a time we had when you came on my show all the way back over a year ago.
That's a good
But
time.
again, it's so great to have this environment, and thank you so much for letting me do this, because I think what you're doing is so amazing, because I'm sure you have people who you're not reaching out to but have seen your show and then they become guests on the program.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to do something like this and to grow it so fast, it's such a great atmosphere and environment to speak to all these different people. It is another magical thing in of itself, and there's no competition either. It's one of those things where we can watch and tune in and say, oh yeah, these guys are doing great things, so I sort of want to copy that aspect, whereas you're not saying, oh, I want to do better than these people and I'm a better show. It's just such a great product. So thank you for letting me.
Thanks, Nolan,
Thank
for
you,
saying that,
man.
man. That means a lot coming from you, and you're a fantastic interviewer, a great content creator. And I'll say this, I think that's something really special about the Beach Boys content creator community. You, Giggins, we got Melanie, we got the folks at Sail On, Endless Summer Band. Like there's just a lot of really great creators.
Yeah.
David Beard, Endless ESQ. Like there's just everybody's really chill, kind of cool. Everybody's all about making everybody else better, which is a big testament to not only the group, but also the folks that are on the chat. They're all really sweet people, and man, you're just awesome. I love.
Well,
love
also to
having you
become
on.
friendly with some of these guys who play in the band as well. I mean, to stay in contact with them. I mean, I know when I had graduated from college and birthdays and stuff, them posting, wishing me congratulations and happy birthday on my wall and whatnot. And that's another
Nice
thing that
people,
you never would imagine. I mean, becoming friends with Gary Griffin, or
Oh.
friendly with them, or
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
of that nature. It's something where you never imagine, because you're just trying to do something that you think is a fun thing to keep yourself occupied besides work.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. Well, buddy, great to have
Thank
you
you,
on.
Nolan.
Thank you
Great
so
to
much for
see ya.
joining us. Hey, everybody, how
Yeah,
about
of
some
course.
hearts and loves and wave in the chat for Nolan Carr? Make sure you check out Nolan's show, Nolan Carr at Night. Nolan's on YouTube, right?
YouTube and the audio platforms as well, depending on how much of a mood you're in to see my wonderful face.
Oh, dude, the face is the biggest thing, man. That's
Yeah.
like half the reason I would tune in. So
Yeah.
awesome, buddy. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have
Oh,
a
yeah.
great
Thank
night.
you.
Okay,
You as well.
buddy.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Nolan. I wanted to
Fun
say
stuff.
before
That's
we
cool.
end, Greg,
Yeah.
you did great tonight. I hope you all will give this album another listen. We did do a poll, and Keeping the Summer Alive was voted the best song on the album by 3 votes. Just beat out Going On. So there you go.
Yeah, not super surprised. I'm a little
No.
surprised that Going On didn't beat out Keeping the Summer Alive, but not super surprised. It's a great tune,
No.
great energy, and it's the first tune on the record. I think
Yeah.
it's a song a lot of people know. So
But
There
thank
it
you to
is.
the Beach Boys for this. Thank you.
yeah, hey everybody,
And,
thank you so much for joining us this week. We'll be back next week with some more Beach Boy talk. We appreciate you joining us. We love you all so much. We love you. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next
night.
week, everybody.